What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Carlotta Chat with Show. It's a late night session, okay? I had to come and talk because I was trying not to. I was trying not to say nothing. But the ignorance I'm seeing online knows no bounds. The title of this show is The Cancellation of Chili and Why We Put Our Energy Behind the Wrong Things. I mean, really. Like, it's just crazy. So I'm going to talk about that a little later on into the show. Yeah, it's a word today for me. For this, it's a word for today. Oh, hold on, y'all. I'm just trying to get this pulled up. See, I be working on stuff and trying to talk to y'all. Hold on. But the it's a word today is um sometimes we really think we know something, but what we really find out in life is that we really just don't know anything. The world is full of so many intricate turns, intricate connections, intricate relationships, energies. And I'm going to say this for y'all, to be honest with y'all. I mean, I don't know right now where I'm at as a person. I'm trying to figure, like, I'm going through this little bit of, uh, I don't know, just strange thing these last couple of weeks. But what I would say for you guys is this summer, this year, because we come up on the spring and the summer, spend your time learning and opening up your mind to various possibilities, various things, um, and not being so closed off to everything. Some of the things I'm going to say tonight is going to make people mad. And it probably going to make them mad before a few years later, but that's okay. Or maybe they'll catch it tonight. I don't know. But I must say that I we the what I am starting to see with the black community, not most of the black American community, and I fought a lot of these leaders, so-called leaders, all kinds of things in this community because we have a problem detaching from political parties. Political parties, it's nothing to me when somebody tells me what they are. It just tells me where you stop thinking. Political parties and political politicians are not your friends. And all throughout American history, there are both sides, both groups who have shared in the oppression and white supremacy tactics. And both of these parties continues to do so. One, they've switched sides over the years. They play games. That's what they do. And that's why I don't take it so seriously because we don't know. Here's the thing. People vote various reasons for various things. There are some people, and I know there are people out here who are socialists and they hiding behind being socialists and communist capitalists and hiding behind a poor capital. I believe systems should be made up of various things. But what I am saying to you is that there are some people you don't know why they've chosen their choices or they donated money and until they talk to you about that, until you see, and I know the thing about Michelle Obama, her retweeting that, you can easily retweet shit on these Twitters and stuff. I don't know how many times I've accidentally hit a retweet button or accidentally hit a repost button just because she's giving money to MAGA. There's a lot of black people. As a matter of fact, if you looked at the vote during the election, how Donald Trump got in office, he doubled his black votership in some places. Now, the reasons a lot of black people voted for a lot of reasons, because sometimes black people didn't like the way the Democratic Party was going. There are black people who don't like illegal immigration and voted for Donald Trump simply because of that. Like, y'all will take one thing and vote for the Democrats on, and y'all don't agree with everything the Democrats do, but you will fucking vote for one thing. You will take one thing and be like, well, and then you'll be down for everything they say. It's various reasons. And overt racism is no different to me than hidden racism. As a matter of fact, hidden racism is worse. You can't, I hate, y'all been playing Malcolm X out here half-ass playing that video. That video is, a lot of y'all been retweeting the video of Malcolm X talking about celebrities, but you're not seeing that in the context in which he's talking about. He's talking about the white liberal community controls celebrity, and black celebrity particularly. This was even in Malcolm made that in probably the late 50s or early 60s. And so they were still having a problem. He was discussing how the white liberal does control certain aspects of the community because they will appear more friendly. Some black people are finding out that. So I'm gonna tell you this: I voted for every group. I voted Republican. I voted Democrat. I voted Green Party. I voted every, because my politics don't stop at one. I have various thoughts about things, and I don't take politicians personally. Politicians ain't my friend. I don't care how homegirl you are. I'm concerned about what your policy's gonna be. Ain't no person. That's what's the problem with us in the community. We've taken too interested in friendships and not enough in policy. Policy is what I take personally. So I don't give a shit. I understand that that racism is in the blood of America and politics. Just because you got just because you think the ones you think, just because you got the certain overt racists like the Erica Kirk situation out there, doesn't mean that you don't got that over there on that Democratic side. You definitely do. They just know how to hide it, and they do it in other ways. And they appear as your friend, and you get fooled by that all the time because they invite you in. Well, you invite them in. And so to me, you can't understand what a person's politics are unless you have a discussion with them, unless you have a conversation with them. And what I'm seeing more and more in the black community is a lot of intolerance, but you do not see that same intolerance among white liberals. They will listen to conservatives. They will actually eat. They friends with conservatives. They all kind of stuff. They make deals with conservatives. It's only you they've convinced, because you they little puppets. They convince you to not deal with Donald Trump. And you think, oh, because he doing this, he doing that, because you taking him personally. Some of y'all working for racists and don't even know it. There are certain things you can take personally. The only thing you take personally is policy. And if you don't like some of the Trump policy, that's fair. But don't be sitting up here canceling somebody before you've heard their political stance and why they voted a certain way. Some people think you're gonna want to some of y'all should be canceled for why y'all voted for Kamala Harris without thinking. And how y'all protect the Obamas who didn't do a damn thing. It's unbelievable. Well, Carlotta, it sounds like you a MAGA. You're an ignorant person to say stuff. That is your defenses. And if I am a MAGA, what does that mean to you? What does MAGA mean to you? Besides how the liberal media has shaped it to you. The one thing, if you've been listening to this show and you listened to me when I was on Blog Talk, the one thing you better not ever say is that I ain't been down for black people. That just because I don't always agree with black people in a whole for what's best for us. Because a lot of times we can all be walking into it, just because the majority agree don't mean it's right. Don't mean I don't love black people. Okay. So don't go there. Now there are some coons on every side. There's coon Democrats. You think it ain't no coon Democrats? That's how y'all in the situation y'all in right now, just getting symbolism and never no shit done. Just like it's coon Republicans. It's coon Republicans, coon Democrats. But it's also very very politically minded Republicans who love black people. And there's very politically uh, minded Democrats who love black people. And then you have groups who are scared of y'all. They don't want to say, I ain't gonna say their names, who's scared to say they're scared to say that they agree with some certain things, but they don't like the overall Trump policy, but they may agree with little things like illegal immigration, because illegal immigration hurts the black American worker. Or that there are little things that the conservatives do with their with populism that sometimes can work towards helping black Americans. It's hard to tell y'all that DEI, a lot of y'all, we sit here and tell you, you know, DEI never worked for black people. Affirmative action never was about it. It only benefited white women, but yet y'all still out in the streets protesting a system that wasn't working for you in the first place. Instead of getting behind closed doors with party leaders or with your people in your community, say, hey, okay, he destroyed DEI. It was, which I really personally don't think it was about black people. You just getting, when white America catches a cold, like Tavis Smiley used to say, we catch the flu. Okay, so sometimes you get cut in the midst of it, but I really think it's more about white women myself, because the people who were benefiting from those programs were white women, extremely. And instead of you going in and seeing, hey, you know what? And to both parties, not just one party, because we at the point now that I don't think either you can go to either one. I don't knock nobody who's why they're choosing different things. I just like to hear their stance. But we need to go, and why wouldn't we go and say, hey, instead of protesting a system that wasn't benefiting our people and was created with our people in mind, instead of going and saying we need a restructuring of this. We don't need the same. We need a restructuring of affirmative action. It was not working for us. But y'all just like to come and protest the same thing because it's easy to not get in. You don't want to get into the details of things. And the more, if you're close to politics and different political parties, even if you don't like them, even if one of them is overtly racist and one of them hides a racism, which is the worst to me, you can still learn from every group and what they think. And yes, as black people, it's great that we think sometimes at 80-90%, but it's not great if we're not going to be educated and understand all the sides. If all y'all doing nowadays is listen to a liberal press, MSNBC, everything, it's just not going to work. And people can't say things to black people without this huge move towards cancellation. And I know the cancellation is fake, because y'all canceling Chili for something y'all really don't know, for what she reason why she's donated to political. Is she not the only one? But to knowing why she donating to political parties, When you got Beyonce, Beyonce and Jay-Z was sitting at a whole table with the Trumps. If you got, and you don't know their business either. So don't even be, that's what business people do. Business people will, even if you don't like it, they'll sit across the table from their enemies and consult, or people they think they don't like. But Jay-Z proved himself to be an enemy. He actually sit there on the interview and told y'all he don't really care about, he's a capital. He didn't create the system. He ain't never took advantage of nobody, even though he was a drug dealer. But hey, even if he did own 0.0.0.1%, he said he still won, not your ass. Even though he gentrified y'all out the neighborhood, did all this, and yet allegedly millions of y'all showed up in the queue and sold this man's concert out, which I don't believe, for 3 nights in a row. And you sitting up here talking about Chili and don't know the first thing about her politics, probably don't even know, you haven't even let her sit and say she got to come out with a bullshit apology for people who are not very politically astute anyway. Yes, Black people, I said it. Most of you are not. You get up here and you just go with the crowd, and you're scared, a lot of you, to go against it. And that's why we've been running on this wheel for about 100 years now. Unbelievable. It's really crazy. Till you hear her speak. It's like y'all did Chrisette Michelle. And I really don't believe, my personal opinion is, when it comes to holidays or big things at the White House, I don't give a fuck who it is. Unless he's doing some hardcore out there, saying some hardcore crazy stuff, you should never close your mind. Because as far as I'm concerned, every president has had white supremacy policy. And to me, it has been a tragic mistake of Black people to close off that Trump White House. You think that Dr. King and them didn't have to talk to Lyndon? What you talking about? Lyndon B. Johnson was a Democrat. He was a Dixiecrat. He was a racist. When Nick Cannon tells you that the Democratic Party was the race, yes, they were the party of the KKK. As a matter of fact, they are partly of the reason for failed Reconstruction. And then they switched up. You start to see a switch under the New Deal, and then it really comes to play when we have the Civil Rights Movement. And that's how Black people begin to change. But that party was fighting. They were the adult racist. See, you don't understand the games that American politics play. And people have to play these games with y'all, because a lot of y'all are not historically, you don't know your history, you don't know about a lot of different things, and you don't understand that some of these parties bleed into each other. So in my personal opinion, politics, Republicans and Democrats do not tell me about your policies and who you are. Those are just political parties that I don't take personal. I don't take Trump being over there on the racism side, because just 20 years ago, about 40 years ago, Trump was all y'all was all at Trump's parties and hanging out, and he wasn't a racist then. But now he's racist today because he's taking up a power vacuum inside of a party that he needs to move in. Just like Joe Biden was talking crazy 40 years ago, calling Black people animals, and putting, and the 3-strike rule came from Joe Biden and all this crap. But he needed to move into a vacuum of power so that he could serve his constituents, even if it's not what he believed. He was cool with Strom Thurmond. Spoke at one of these funerals. What are y'all talking about? Y'all was out like, for Joe, Joe. And then Kamala Harris, my God. I'm not going to do anything for Black people. He's doing the exact same thing to Trump. That's why you can't take politicians, the people, personally. These are not your friends. Neither group. But your job and what used to be the Black Caucus's job was to put pressure no matter who was in that office. Even if it was racist Lyndon B. Johnson, they didn't close themselves off to Lyndon B. Johnson. You better go up in there and put pressure on Lyndon. You better have that conversation. That's how the civil rights movement gets passed. How dare y'all get mad at people for wanting to go talk to the political structure in power? You're idiots. And you don't got no plan. You sit there and talked about, what is the people? Project, whatever they are. They had a plan. They took a plan to Trump. And that is politics. Politics is you put pressure on your candidate. They don't give, they had friendly probably dinners and everything with Trump. Project 20, I forget what it was. All that stuff, because the white liberals was out here trying to play games with y'all. Everybody got a game plan. They came up in there with a game plan. Said, hey, Trump, this is what we need you to do if we put our weight behind you and our money behind you. But all y'all did was sit around and talk about their project and them doing politics instead of creating your own agenda for the Democratic Party and continuing to put pressure on them. I'd be putting it on Trump too. I'd be like, hey, we going up here to talk Trump too. But no, y'all have become they have paralyzed y'all so much in this media. And it's really only Black people, because I'm laughing because I see some white liberals talk like that, but not a lot. Yeah, they'll have a disdain for Trump. Yeah, we just know kings that we're gonna be. Yeah, we're gonna be out here, but it's always about their own agendas, not because they like Black people that much. Unbelievable. You know, one thing I'm learning is I don't know a lot, and over the years, I learn more and more every day. And I don't knock somebody. I have friends who are different races and stuff like that, and they have slight prejudices in them. Me too. And it is in conversation and building friendships and stuff that you do. I remember my grandfather told me years ago. My grandfather was one of the is still to this day is one of the toughest. Was one of the toughest person I see. Used to go to his job and how he used to talk to white people when I was young. But my grandfather always taught me maintain your power, but never close off to people unless they doing something harmful. I mean, in terms of getting ready to knock you, if it's violence. But when you have to work for people, you got to learn how to talk to them. I don't know how many people racist people that we probably worked with over the years of all different races and stuff. But we would have a lot of those people would come by our house, hang out on the weekends, eat with my grandfather. I mean, sometimes we hear some, these is in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s. You would hear some jokes that was wild, okay? Racial jokes, all kind of stuff with each other, okay? But they learned from each other and how so many of them became friends, Mexican, white people, all kind of people. And my grandpa is a strong Black man out of Mississippi. Didn't take no stuff. But they taught the value of knowing different people. Understand, even if those people have certain things. I remember my grandfather, one of his bosses was over at hanging out at our house for I can't remember, it was barbecue or something like that. And he was very conservative. My grandpa said that, but when he left that racist blah 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 blah, he said it was crazy. He said, but I just let him know or whatever. But you know what? Over the years, that friendship grew. And even when they sometimes had different disagreements, that person became softer because he knew, hey, that's not true, some of the stuff I was thinking. it was the ability to have tolerance with people, have a sense of tolerance. There are times you're going to know if people are willing to know you, that you have to open up the door to people that you may not necessarily get along with, or you might not necessarily agree with. Some people who might have some prejudice and racism, racist ideas, but you may be the person in the way to change that person. But if you guys are being just as intolerant and crazy because you're mad at Donald Trump, it is wild. It's unbelievable. And then when I talk to a lot of Black people about Donald Trump, they don't know why they're mad at Donald Trump. They've taken on other issues. Oh, well, this and that. And I can understand if you say, hey, Carlotta, I'm in disagreement with the Iran war. I'm in disagreement with this and that. But racial dynamics in America, you put pressure, they're always going to be there. They've been there with every president. It is the power of Black people and the power of the Black political agenda that sets a politician in high places straight. You are the pressure. If you're not there, then why even pay attention to you? It's hard for us because my personal opinion is that every time when there's a Black History event, no Black Caucus member should not be at that Black History event. I don't care who the hell you think Donald Trump is. You be up in that room because you are there even in opposition to him. You be a strong presence. Don't ever make it look like you're closing the door. If he closed the door, it's different. Then the system can come against him to push him to open the doors. But that's not what's happened the last several years. What's happened is it's been a witch hunt. And those doors, they've just not shown up. Not shown up in the room for political pressure. But that's not the history of Black politicians in America. Sometimes they would have to talk to the racist. They work with the Democrats, all them racist white liberals, and there's a lot of them. So, I mean, we guys, we have to stop the foolishness. Uh, but like, yeah, I played this the other day, but this needs to be played again because, again, y'all don't keep putting these videos on if you haven't seen the whole video or ever heard Malcolm speak. Don't. Okay, so let me let y'all hear here. Put it here. Because I think this is going to be need to be shown. And I think that's why a lot of some Black people were trying to move outside of the Democratic Party. There's some Black people who were trying to put their votes elsewhere, even to trying to go. There are some Black people I know who have tried to, whether you think it's smart or you don't think it's smart, they still were having a sense of advocacy behind them, and whether they don't know enough yet or whether they don't know a lot, have went over to the Republican Party to say, hey, I'm going to start to put pressure on them to see if we can change them and put pressure while one group works over here. You might think, oh, you sell out, but they not sellouts. They over there saying, hey, we need to put some pressure on them. Now, maybe to some political advocacy groups and stuff, they like, hey, you don't know enough. This is what's going on with Trump and them, and they'll change their mind. But you don't know why people vote the way they vote. Like it's a lot of y'all ignoramuses that will go over there and vote for the Democrats no matter what's going on. Even after Biden said all that he said, y'all still went out there and voted. Yeah, it was crazy. We crazy. Now we up in here arguing with Chili and defending the Obamas. And then it's so funny because we still don't understand where we're politically at. We uh, that's why I say at this point in the game, I feel like Huey did on the Boondocks. I'm retired, but I did want to come on here and share with y'all some things I think that can help you. I don't know. Um, let's see here. I can pull it up, y'all. Okay. The other day, but I guess it needs to be shown again. But for those of y'all that didn't see it. Hold on. Okay, you guys.
But being friendly and being a friend, I think, are two different things. I think there are many whites who act friendly toward Negroes. A fox acts friendly toward the lamb. Mm-hmm. And usually the fox is the one who ends up with the lamb chop on his plate. Mm-hmm. The wolf doesn't act friendly, and therefore the wolf has more difficulty in getting the lamb chop in his plate.
I'd like to point out, though, that...
I say that because it is usually if you study the structure of the Negro community, economically, politically, civically, psychologically, and otherwise, it's controlled by the white liberal, who usually poses as the friend of the Negro, who actually differs from the white conservative in the same way that the fox differs from the wolf. Their appetite is the same. Their motives are the same. It's only their mannerisms and methods that differ.
I would agree that no doubt there have been a large number of whites who have posed as liberals and as friends of the Negro and who have time and again betrayed the Negro. On the other hand, I think one could point to a large number of whites who have struggled for civil rights, for equality, and have got little or nothing out of it, other than quite a few bruises.
Give me an example.
Well, the large number of white students who have gone into the South, for example, working for SNCC and other organizations.
Not working for SNCC or other organizations, but working for the white political machines who benefit by the voting efforts of Negroes.
Okay, I'll be more specific. I would cite Herbert Hill, for example, as a kind of person who has championed Negro job rights, for example, in New York City and elsewhere. He has fought the political machine.
First time I met Herbert Hill personally was when they were picketing to stop the working on the Harlem Hospital in Harlem. Negroes for 10 years had to fight the city to get an annex built on the Harlem Hospital. Because in Harlem, we need a hospital more so than anything else. Our people are sick. Plus, we do a lot of cutting and shooting of each other, though we profess to be nonviolent. And Herbert Hill brought his forces out and stopped the working on that site. This is the first time I ever saw him. Then when work was brought to a halt on a hospital in Harlem, the same Negroes tried to stop the work at the Downstate Medical Center in Brooklyn, which is predominantly white. They were out there for 3 months during the summer. Couldn't stop anything. And I never saw Herbert Hill out there one time. Now, whenever it takes a stoppage of something that's going to affect the white man, you find the white liberal absent. But when it involves something that primarily will affect the best interests of black people and black people only, then that white liberal is present. Herbert Hill is the labor secretary for the NAACP. Mm-hmm. And if he was interested in black people, he would prepare a black man with the type of knowledge and understanding of the labor troubles involving black people that would enable a black man to sit in the same position as Secretary of Labor or Labor Secretary in the NAACP. I'm suspicious of whites who join Negroes and always have to be in the lead, who always have to be the head, who always have to be at the top in Negro organizations. Those whites who really have the interest of blacks at heart, let them give some advice to some Negroes and stand on the sideline. But don't join the organization and then get at the head of it and pose as a friend of Negroes.
Well, I would defend his sincerity and his commitment. And more than that, I would say that just because a person is a Negro or a black American does not mean that he's going to struggle for Negro rights or for jobs for Negroes or anything else. I think that today you could point to a large number of Negro leaders who have consistently betrayed Negroes in a whole host of areas.
They aren't really Negro leaders. These are puppets that have been put in front of the Negro community by white liberals. These are parrots that have been put in front of the Negro community by white liberals. You can't name me a Negro leader who has been betrayed Negroes, who has not been endorsed, sanctioned, subsidized, and supported by the white liberals.
Minister Malcolm, I'd like to.
Well, I could cite one example would be Congressman Dawson, for example, in Chicago. In Chicago, a large number of liberals located in the Hyde Park district have consistently fought Dawson and his betrayals of the Negro, and they've also fought some of the people who represent Dawson on the Chicago City Council.
The only Negro I know who is constantly fought, only Negro politician that I know who is constantly fought by white liberals is Adam Clayton Powell. And they call him a racist because he speaks so bluntly on the race issue. But I'm not, as I said, not too familiar with Dawson and his work.
And usually that is because we still have the same dynamics today. This is a very good conversation too, by the way, if you haven't ever heard the whole full interview, this video, because the same dynamics that are operating today, and it worked through celebrity world and everything. Now, the reason I believe Chili is being pushed right now because the powers that white liberals that run Hollywood do not want Jay-Z to be followed. Okay. Because y'all was paying too much attention to that interview and asking some questions. But now y'all bringing out Chili for no reason at all because she donated some money to the Trump campaign. I want to know why you donated to Kamala Harris. I mean, it's just and then, you know what? There's some things I like about Democrats. There's some things I like about Republicans. I have to be honest with that. I like both. There's some things I like about Green Party. But not one party has my loyalty unless I see them making major moves for the Black American community. Really, that's the straight up truth. I'm not loyal to any party. But and there are times when I do like MAGA, some things that Trump has said in MAGA. But there is times I do like the fight against illegal immigration, and a lot of Black people secretly do. They just don't want to talk to me about it. I know a person that's staunch liberal who argue with conservatives every day. And this person told me, said, well, yeah, I have to agree with that. I really don't like illegal immigration. I really don't like, and I also don't like this and that. And it was a few things that she agreed with the conservatives about. She really wasn't as full liberal as she was coming off to be. Okay, so that's what I'm just trying to tell y'all. I don't think you're one party, to be honest. I really don't believe we're one group, okay? And really, I hate the idea. I wish we could all just have an idea. People get behind one idea and people get behind another idea and not have political parties, because political parties tend to wrap people up and even think things they don't really all the way believe in. But they'll have to go with them because their parties go with them. It's just kind of a crazy structure. But that's a very interesting one, and probably that in that segment why Malcolm didn't hear about it, because Black conservatives who are usually cooning and everything, we usually can see them right away. It's easy to see them. They easy because they be saying crazy stuff. Not all Black conservatives are coons and Uncle Toms and all that. They're not all. There are some who really care for Black people. They just looking at other. They believe in more of conservative ways and things to handle different things in the community versus a liberal person who is Black and loves the community. But they can argue. Y'all can argue that out. You know what I'm saying? But as long as y'all care about the people, That's what's important. Okay. But then there are coons on both sides. Okay. Now, usually the black conservative coon, a lot of them who coon, they will do anything to be in the Republican Party. They don't have no thinking hats of their own. They will go up in there just to be in Trump's face. Hey, Trump, yeah, whatever you say and everything like that. They do, I mean, just do, yeah, boss. It just be all kind of, and it's not all white black conservatives who do that. But there are some, and you easily can identify them. Okay. Black people tend to not pay no attention to them because you feel their energy right away. Okay. And then, but the problem is you tend to paint all black conservatives with that paint, and you don't know all black conservatives. There are various black conservatives, some who love black people, but just believe differently. And they have empathy for the plight of black people, but they feel it's a different way versus the black liberal. Then you have black liberals who are coons all day, and y'all do not recognize them. They will sell you out. They will smile in your face. Yeah, we got to let these white people know, power to the people and all this stuff. But behind closed doors, they are some of the most weakest bums you ever want to see. They have sold out their people a number of times in a number of ways. But because they can get out here and give you the black aesthetic, they can give you the black, yeah, power, this and that. They can talk to you any kind of way. You guys fall for it every time. And you don't easily identify the black liberal coon. You easily identify the white liberal, white conservative, black conservative coon, but you don't, and you really don't identify them because you cut everybody off because you think everybody's painted with the same thing. Just like you think on the liberal side, every black person is down with you, and that is not true. Some people, black caucus members, you should look at their districts and many years they've been there. And they all talk that same talk. We got to, and for years, don't be doing nothing up in there. Okay? And because y'all fall for aesthetics, black aesthetic. If you got the talk, if you got that, this and that, you don't understand. You do not see people individually. You do not hear them. And so therefore, it just blinds y'all all the way around. And it makes you look like the most uneducated community in America. And at this point, we should be sharper than that. You show up 1 million people in the queue for a man who gentrified you out of Brooklyn, great neighborhoods, who basically showed up. Now, he told you his politics. I'm not saying to protest him. I'm not saying that. I'm not on there no more because I understand entertainers should be looked at as entertainers. But because y'all put so much weight on them, you showed up and sold his concerts out for 3 days. Him and his family were sitting at the table with Trump and them because they understand they got to do bit. But y'all ain't no cancellations for them. A man who literally was once a drug dealer, said he made his money, and still got the drug dealer mindset. Yet, y'all don't think he a coon. Y'all trying to overly explain. Well, see, yeah, I listened to the interview with Jay-Z, and I respect Jay a lot and everything, but I just think he out of touch. No, Jay-Z cares more about himself than he fucking does what he did to the community. It'd been different if Jay got on there and said, because everybody can make mistakes. He said, hey, looking back on the situation, what I did in Brooklyn and how I handled that, I would have handled that differently. At the time I thought I was doing what was best. But we live and learn. I didn't handle that. What I learned was this. And what I learned is I want the community to benefit because I'm always acting like I'm community oriented, and I need to show y'all I'm community oriented. But that's an act. It's just an act to get your energy and support behind him. A lot of y'all is dogging Chili, but politically more aligned conservative with white rich Republicans. Cause y'all like Jay-Z. Y'all ain't got no problem with Jay-Z. Even though Jay-Z probably give, I mean, he probably give money to the Democratic Party, but that don't mean he Democrat. It's people that give money to both parties. Most billionaires do. You can't afford to not be serious about how you view the political landscape. And you can't afford to stay in your emotions. Here we are, you still emotional after 50 and 60 years. You still not being able to see things in a very structured, organized way of understanding race, politics, everything. And yet you'd allow this. We constantly have this fight within ourselves. Now we fighting about, I saw somebody on the other day talking about black people want black people to go back to, talking about black people in Africa and acting like Africa is the cool couple. Do you understand that Africa was part of the slave trade? They the reason you got here. Gotta stop. We gotta stop the foolishness. I think of Africans as no different than the white slave traders. They work together. I mean, I remember we used to try to give excuses for now. This doesn't mean now that Africa is a different place now. There are people in Africa who understand the history and everything like that and hate what the slave trade did. But I do not think of them as any less at fault than I do the slave traders. They participated in the slave trade and they facilitated it. So no, I don't see how you run around here asking for reparations or anything or asking for reparation for black people. The nerve. I saw that the other day. I just wanted to talk and I was like, what? The world is crazy. They said in the end times that people would hate people would not want to hear sound judgment and sound teaching. People would want to, their itching ears, they wouldn't even want to hear it. They'd be, they wouldn't want to hear things that are sound. They don't want to be, and what's wrong will be right and what's right will be wrong. We coming in that time. We just coming, we almost there. Gonna be in it, just a new place, okay? Y'all not making sense about canceling that woman. And she has a right to her political ideas and thoughts and agenda. Well, I got a right to not go to her concert. You do. But I bet some of y'all be at Jay-Z concert. And if Beyonce came out today, Beyonce had to do something extreme for y'all to, even if Beyonce said, I kind of like Trump. Some of y'all would start talking like, yeah, well, Beyonce, see, she's a businesswoman. Y'all make excuses all day. So that's why I know y'all be faking up in here. It's just like what Chris said Michelle when she wanted to go sing when she went to sing at the inauguration, they paid her several years back. and y'all continue to blackball her. I wouldn't apologize for shit, because I believe once a president has won, no, hear me on this. I think inaugurational balls and stuff like that, it should be a coming together of both political parties under one thing. Even if we're going to come in, we're coming here, we're surrounding this person coming into office. We may not agree with each other, but we're all going to celebrate the process of election. So even if I'm a Democrat, I'm at the ball of a Republican president. Even if I'm a Republican, I'm at the ball of a Democratic president, because this isn't really about my politics. This is about the celebration of the electoral process. And if the president wants me to come sing for his first dance, well, then I do so. Unless he's doing just things that's really crazy. But we come under each other, because listen, yes, we can have, this is what a democracy is about, going back and forth with each other, having different views, being able to speak your mind. But one thing was say, what does it say? And to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We all stand under one flag, even when we disagree with each other. But you're not celebrating Trump, you're celebrating the political process. When your team wins the Super Bowl, it ain't a political time. We go and honor the White House and whoever's in the White House, because we show that we honor the political we are Americans. Even if I disagree with the president, I'm still here. Hello, Mr. President, how are you doing? Yeah, we don't always agree. No, we don't. But you know what? We're here today to celebrate the Super Bowl win. We can't come together with Super about the Super Bowl, right? You know, that's what we're supposed to be doing. Y'all have taken everything to extremes. And how do you expect to make moves, politically be taken seriously, if you just gonna run away from people who don't agree with you? And not actual people who have actually done damage to your community. I mean, it's just, wow. And plus, a politician is different from a rapper and an entertainer. A politician is not your friend, but you understand when you walk into the world of politics, it's not about selling out and selling this and that. It's about maneuvering so that the community gets help, maneuvering so you can get in the building to give, so that your voice is heard. So when a person goes up, when Donald Trump says, hey, I'd like to speak to, I heard about ADOS. I'd like for them to come up here and speak. I would hope that ADOS would not say no. You ain't supposed to say no. You're supposed to go up there, even if he's going to disagree with you and push back. No, we pushing, but we here. We here. But know what y'all would do? Y'all would all start talking like, how dare they go up to Trump's office? Y'all start yelling because you don't understand politics. Wow. But I digress. Okay, so that's what I had to say to that. Canceling Chili is foolishness to me, and everybody who's talking about it is foolishness without hearing who she is, what she thinks. It's different than when we saw Stacey Dash running around here just looking coolish, when she just didn't have no job, and she started jumping around here on conservative channel talking about stuff she didn't know what she was talking about. She didn't even sound engaging. She was just running around here and trying to attack black people who weren't sincere. But there's been Democrats who've done the same thing, who have attacked black people. I mean, remember Barack Obama went to Morehouse and attacked black men who were successful. He was talking to them like they was thugs. So I might understand the cancellation of Stacey Dash if you saw Chili running around, or when we see Nikki, even though there are certain things I like about Nikki, but when we saw Nikki going up there on Erica Kirk's platform, just saying stuff, and then she's trying to talk for all of black Americans. She's not black American. It's wild. It was just wild. Like, who are you? What? But y'all ain't heard nothing Chili got to say. Y'all haven't heard her. Or why she's giving money to Trump. And why she's liking Trump. Who says you're right? Why do you like who you like? And what makes you think you're the smartest person in the room? Unbelievable. It's craziness. And some of the people y'all like on the liberal side is definitely sellout. She might make just about as much sense as y'all make. Maybe more at some point. Okay. Lord have mercy. I mean, it's just, out here. I don't know. I said this summer I'm going to do a lot of God bless. God bless, get my body together, do a lot of reading, study, trying to get my mind right. Because it's one of those times where I feel like we are just in such a different time. And that you need to, prepare yourself in a not just a spiritual way, but a way that you ground yourself in knowledge and understanding of things, because we're coming into the time moves and the days go further. I love the Bible. The Bible says that if God didn't shorten the days in the end times, the very elect would be fooled. He said, because the deception in the world will be so thick. I feel like we walking towards a place of strong deception, and you better be grounded. Like some of y'all this summer, I advise you to sit by the pool, sit by and just relax and ground yourself. Read, study, learn. If you can, travel. Experience something different, but ground yourself, because these times that we might be coming up on, you need that energy of to be grounded spiritually, mentally, and just having conversations with God about how he sees this next phase, because you may have to operate in a time of where it's not a lot of peace going on, or where the world is erratic, and you may have to have that peace within. And some of that is going to mean, I'm going to tell you something really, what I've been really thinking. I'm a very, person who's very, who's spiritual at times, and very spiritual at times, and very, very strong in my belief systems and stuff like that. But I feel like I'm coming in a time where I don't feel the need to be as hard on them. Because I think this next phase, that doesn't mean I don't have still strong values and strong belief systems, but I think this next phase, you have to be open to understanding, learning from people who may sometimes think differently from you. Even that Jay-Z interview, you can learn something from. Now, I'm not telling you I ain't no good and bad in the world. That's not what I'm saying. Okay, there's definitely good and bad in the world. Okay, And there is exploitation. And I believe Jay-Z is an exploiter. He's been an exploiter ever since he lived in Marcy's projects and was selling drugs. And he's still into the exploitation game. He just doesn't realize it. And people are trying not to tell him the truth. And see, I wouldn't have minded if Jay-Z would have showed up on that interview and said, hey, I'm a capitalist, and I really ain't asking black people for nothing. I'm just trying to move in business. You can't sell off to me some bullshit you talking about for the community. Then you need to show me how it's benefited the community when you put the Brooklyn Nets up in there. How did it benefit black people? You need to be able to sell your case so I can change my mind. Other than that, you coming trying to exploit the community, exploit the goodness of the community that's proud to see you achieve something, thinking you've gotten out of the drug dealing game when your mindset is still there, and exploiting the goodwill of black people to believe that the majority of that business was yours and that you were going to do great things like, hey, we going to see more black, we might see this happen, more black people, all that stuff. None of that's true. And for you to exploit the trust level. So you did take advantage of those people. So yeah, I think y'all should be questioning Jay-Z more than y'all do should be Chili. Like, y'all out here, y'all wild in the mud. That's why I can't take y'all seriously. But at this point, I just will say to y'all, be open to things. Be open, because I feel like there is the time is getting ready to be just different. And how you maintain you need to maintain your peace. Start grounding yourself in peace and purpose. As just was running through my mind, God is not giving us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. Okay. All right, y'all. So moving on to other things. I just definitely had to talk about that. Let's see here. Other things I wanted to talk about tonight. I was watching the other day. Last night I watched the whole series because I had time. I watched Fox. I didn't realize Succession, because I love Succession. That used to come on HBO. Oh my God. Okay, Succession. I didn't realize was about the Murdochs. Oh. So I watched a whole documentary, like a 4 or 5 hour documentary on Netflix about the Murdochs. Oh, wow. Mind blowing. Real life Succession, okay? And what I learned about it, what I thought when I was watching it, first of all, I thought like, I was just thinking about the wealth. And I'm not a person, because I don't believe in absolute socialism. I don't believe in absolute, because I believe absolute power on anybody corrupts. There, you can be you have some absolute socialist programs and things that are corrupt. You have some absolute capitalists. You know what I'm saying? I just don't believe. I think, but and maybe I'll learn differently at some other point in time, or I think differently. But right now, I don't. But and also I don't try to. I try not to be overly critical. And then also in certain community societies, if people think, oh, well, we have a balance of wealth, but somebody's hoarding the wealth. It's never not nobody hoarding the wealth, in my opinion. But when I was looking at the Murdochs, and I was thinking, the way they're living right now, with billions being like just running around, like I don't even know if they're even in the money yet. It money becomes something different on that level. It's not even, is it real at that level? I mean, it was very, and I thought to myself, I said, well, God, if Rupert Murdoch had, we have to have heads of industry in this world, even if they're exploiters, we got all kinds of people in this world. But that wealth was super extraordinary. It was super extraordinary what him and his family was able to do, but the destruction of his family. That's why you always go back to the ideology of where God says the love of money, the love of it is the root of all evil. Like loving money, I just need more money. I need, you know what I'm saying? Because because at some point it goes beyond the secession becomes a game, and it starts to, you don't think of these people as your family anymore or the people you love, but you start toying with their emotions and their mindsets, and it's all because to get to this imaginary, oh wow, man, I'm telling you. And in some ways I understand the game. This is a Game of Thrones, and I'm a person who loves the Game of Thrones, things like that, Games of Thrones, because I understand what builds toughness and builds power. So you understand that, but then also, there's also a level of, there's that level of trying to prepare somebody and, in their mind and stuff. But there's also just the moral fiber that sometimes can get lost. There's no balance. You know what I'm saying? And it destroys his family. It's just put destruction all through his family. I, I think about when Israel wanted a king in the Bible, they was like, we want a king. We want a king. It's God, put somebody over us. We need a leadership. We need leadership. And the Bible says God was like, okay, if you go ask, you want a king over you. Let me see if I can look that up so I can. Where it's funny. Okay, yes, in Samuel 8. 1 Samuel 8. Israel asked for a king. It says when Samuel grew old, which is the prophet Samuel, he appointed his sons as Israel's leaders. The name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second was Abijah, and they served at Beersheba. But his sons did not follow his ways. They turned aside after dishonest gain and accepted bribes and perverted justice. So all the elders of Israel gathered together because they did have to have some form of leadership, right? But it says, so all the elders of Israel got together and came to Samuel at Ramah. They said to him, you are old and your sons do not follow your ways. Now appoint a king to lead us, such as all the other nations have. But when they said, give us a king to lead, this displeased Samuel. So he prayed to the Lord, and the Lord told him, listen to all that the people are saying to you. It is not you they have rejected, but they have rejected me as their king. Okay. As they have done from the day I brought them up out of Egypt until this day, forsaking me and serving other gods, so they are doing to you. Now listen to them, but warn them solemnly and let them know what the king who will reign over them will claim as his rights. Samuel told all the words of the Lord to the people who were asking him for a king. He said, this is what the king who will reign over you will claim as his rights. He will take your sons and make them serve with his chariots and horses, and they will run in front of his chariots. Some he will assign to be commanders of thousands and commanders of fifties, and others to plow his ground and reap his harvest, and still others to make weapons of war and equipment of his chariots. he will take your daughters to be perfumers and cooks and bakers. He will take the best of your fields and vineyards and olive groves and give them to his attendants. He will take a tenth of your grain and of your vintage and give it to his officials and attendants. Your male and female servants and the best of your cattle and donkey he will take for his own. He will take a tenth of your flocks, and you yourselves will become his slaves. When the day comes, you will cry out for relief from the king you have chosen, but the Lord will not answer you in this day. But the people refused to listen to Samuel. No, they said, we want a king over us. Because people don't want to be in leadership. Nobody wants to be. So the king, because he is taking the risk of being in, he going to ask for a lot. And he's an imperfect human. They said when Samuel heard the people said what the people said, he repeated it before the Lord. The Lord answered, listen to them and give them a king. Give them what they want. And I just thought about this in our society and where we put symbolic kings or symbolic things. It is our choices in society, how we make these kings of industry, kings of things. And it's because a lot, can I just say this? I don't know. And I don't know if this is what God meant or not. And I really have to look at this First Samuel again, chapter 8. But how many Rupert Murdochs are there in the world to do what Rupert Murdoch does? Like I was just sitting there. One end of my head was like this is crazy. This is wild. This is too much. But how many people have the fortitude to build industry, to be a titan? I don't know. Is it that a lot of us, we lack that and we don't trust God enough? I don't know. Are these people a result of a lazy society? Is it really about us? Yeah, it had me thinking that, very good documentary. You will see how Fox News became a power in the world of news. But you also see how this family gains its power, man. And it's the real secession. I didn't really realize secession was built off of them. I knew it was supposed to have similarities, but secession is completely in many ways this Murdoch family. And what was interesting is the family, and the beginning of the documentary, a lot of the people, media stuff, they say the family watched Succession all the time and loved it. So it's great. It's just very interesting. It was just a mind blowing, and it made me realize too that what I think I know, I don't know. Oh my God, the world is so deep with so many structures, so many infrastructures, so many things. Oh my God, what I think I know, I don't know. And I heard this person the other day, and I don't know, she was talking about, I'm a scholar, I'm smart, that's what I know. And I'm like, no, really, what you think you know, you don't know. This world is so full of oh my God. What we think we know, man. I don't know. I'm gonna see if I can find this. Let me see if I find the Secession funeral speech. I've played this before on the show. And I kept thinking about this while I was watching this. And what's his name is still alive? Rupert Murdoch. He's 95 years old now. He went through a succession of wives. I think he's on his third or fourth or something like that. But this was, I played this before on this show, and I'm going to let this play a little bit again. And this was, to me, what I loved about Succession. The writing was just such, oh my God, chef's kiss, okay? If you've never seen Succession, man, first of all, I would say, if you haven't seen Succession, I don't know what I would tell you to watch first. I would say watch Succession first and then watch the Rupert Murdoch documentary if you can't. But Succession is like lasts a number of seasons. So season 4, I think it lasts 4 seasons. So I wouldn't say Succession. Okay, if you can't the documentaries for most of y'all, go watch the documentary and then watch Succession watch the 4 seasons of Succession. One of the best television shows ever done. But the actors fabulous, everything. I just loved everything about Succession. Uh, but I want to play this because this is what I was thinking as I was watching this. I mean, I was thinking about the giants of Titan, but this is the son during this is Kendall. This is the family. This is Succession, and I talked about this before, and I played this before on my blog talk show. But Succession was about a family who was about to like a Rupert Murdoch family. The head of the family at some point passes away. I'm kind of giving y'all, oh my God, I hate to tell y'all the story, but you still can go back and watch it and enjoy it. If you don't want to be spoiler, then okay, but the spoilers has already happened. But Kendall is speaking at his father's funeral, who is sort of like a Rupert Murdoch. Okay, so I want y'all to hear this, but this is, and then I'll talk about my thoughts on stuff right here. And his father was a big mogul. Let me just share this. A big I hope I don't get this is fair use. I'm hoping I don't get, I might get marked for this, but oh well. But I wanted to show y'all this because I thought this was big about this part. But let's see, let me just y'all see this. Wait a minute, I don't know if you guys are seeing this. Oh, you guys are not seeing it. Okay, hold on.
I mean, look at it, the lives.
Okay, I'm gonna start it back.
And it is true what I said, what my uncle said. Yeah, my father was a brute. He was tough. But also, he built and he acted. And there are many people out there who will always tell you no. And there are 1,000 reasons there. I mean, there always are 1,000 reasons not to not act. But he was never one of those. He had he had a vitality, a force that could hurt. And it did. But my God, the sheer, I mean, look at it, the lives and the livings and the things that he made. And the money. Yeah, the money. The lifeblood, the oxygen of this wonderful civilization that we have built from the mud. The money, the corpuscles of life gushing around this nation, this world, filling men and women all around with desire, quickening the ambition to own and make and trade and profit and build and improve. I mean, great geysers of life he willed, of buildings he made stand, of ships, steel hulls, amusements, newspapers, shows, and films, and life, bloody, complicated life. He made life happen. He made me and my 3 siblings. Sorry. And yes, he had a terrible force to him and a fierce ambition that could push you to the side. But it was only that human thing, the will to be and to be seen and to do. And now people might want to tend and prune the memory of him, to denigrate that force, that magnificent, awful force of him. But my God, I hope it's in me. Because if we can't match his vim, then God knows the future will be sluggish and gray. Now, there wasn't a room from the grandest stateroom where his advice was sought to the lowest house where his news played, where he couldn't walk and wasn't comfortable. He was comfortable with this world, and he knew it. He knew it, and he liked it. And I say amen to that.
Now, I found this one of the most intriguing speeches of I love this. Even though there's a lot, because if you are coming from a spiritual standpoint and you're a spiritual person, you understand this world isn't it. Right? So you never, I never think of myself as this, because I always understand that eternity is longer than the current world we live in. I am very understanding of the spiritual world and the eternal world, and I understand what he was saying. He was saying his father was a worldly man and he was here to build industries and things like that. And I thought about that speech when I was watching this documentary, and I was like, God, how do we reckon? Because I don't know if you have a lot of, even though there are a lot of things about him I did not like. I mean, the super wealthy, I was thinking this was it was too much wealth. It was too much crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I also wonder, like, does the reason men like him exist and are not stable, or I mean, in terms of is it very few of us that want to be extraordinary? Because it takes extraordinary things to build a fox. I don't know. I don't know the answers anymore, you know? And I'm really dealing with this in my spirit, man, with God. Like what, like he was saying, that force, that thing. And I was thinking about that because I was thinking about that speech from Secession, that funeral speech that I just played for y'all while I was watching this documentary. And I was thinking about, like,
a fierce ambition that could push you to the side. But it was only that human thing, the will to be and to be seen and to do. And now people might want to tend and prune the memory of him, to denigrate that force, that magnificent, awful force of him. But my God, I hope.
And it's an interesting thing. How do we reconcile with that? How is the world supposed to look? What does the world look like without a Rupert Murdoch? And do they do the things that we're just scared to? And there's been exploit. You can best believe, baby, there was exploitation going on with Rupert, in my opinion. And we understand why young men like Jay-Z will feel like they have to be drug dealers and everything at all costs and not have any moral high ground because they think of themselves as builders of industry. And well, she really not, he dropped out. They just using his ass. Okay, he dropped out of high school. Anyway, this I just don't, I'm at this. I'm thinking, that I was thinking about that last night, and I was thinking, God, there's not a room in this world that I couldn't go in and be friends with somebody. I couldn't go in and talk to somebody. I couldn't go in from the lowest to the highest, even a Rupert Murdoch. And I've met men who were heads of industry and stuff and been friends with them and laughed or been cool with, but it does take a special force to do that. And that documentary will make you wonder about a lot of things. What's good? What's bad? How do we see? And the role of kings. Is it because we ask for these things as people? We're consumers of these things, and men like Rupert just answer the call. Is our need for certain things building the kings of the, I don't really know how to answer that anymore, to be honest with you. And that's why I say the more I know, I don't know. All I know is there's a God, and I got to read the word again to restructure my mind on that to see how I feel about that. Yeah, it's very deep. Watch that documentary. I love it. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorites to watch. And watch Secession if you get a chance. Okay. So you probably can find that on HBO Max or something like that. But yeah, just a powerful thing. Okay. Now, I also watch one of my favorite. I've seen it 1,000 times, but I saw a little bit of it, which is I've been on a Michelle Pfeiffer kick because I was talking about Grease too. Because I was talking about how you have these little things on Instagram now saying, what opinion do you have that other people don't have? And I was like, I like Grease 2 better than I did Grease 1. Oh my God, I freaking love Grease 2. And but they was also asking you about what were you watching, and I had just watched. I was watching. What is Dangerous Liaisons? Dangerous Liaisons. Oh my God. The one with Michelle Pfeiffer. It's so good. It's an old film, but it's one of my favorites. It is the story about love, desire, trickery. So many good little things in there. But as I was watching, because I've seen it a few times, and let me look this up here real quick. Yeah, but it is the plot is, I'm going to read from Wikipedia, but it says in pre-revolution Paris, the Marquise de Myrtil plots revenge against her ex-lover, the Comte de Bastide. I can't pronounce none of these words, okay? Who recently ended their relationship. To soothe her wounded pride and embarrass Bastide, she seeks to arrange the seduction and disgrace of his young virgin fiancé. Cecilia D. Wagner, who has only recently been presented to society after spending her formative years in the shelter of a convent. Okay, so let me see. Mature calls on the similarly unprincipled Vic, Vicomte, I can't say these words, another excellent verb of hers, to do the deed. Valmont declines as he is plotting to seduce Madame de Tourville, the devoutly religious wife of a member of Parliament and a current guest of Valmira's aunt, Madame de Rosemonde. Amused and incredulous at Valmont's hubris, Mature ups the ante. If Valmont somehow succeeds in seducing Tourville and can furnish written proof, Murcia will sleep with him as well. Never want to refuse a challenge Valmont accepts. And Valmont is a trickster, okay? But he's also a charmer. Tourville rebuffs all of Valmont's advances, okay? Searching for leverage, he instructs his page, uh, Azalon, to seduce Tourville's maid, Julie, and gain access to Tourville's private correspondence. One of the letters intercepted is from Cecil's mother and Myrtille's cousin, Madame de Blanges, warning Tourville that Valmont is nefarious and untrustworthy. Valmont resolves to seduce Cecilia as revenge for her mother's accurate denunciation of him. At the opera, Cecile meets the charming and handsome Chevalier Dency, who becomes her music teacher. They fall in love with coaxing from Matul, who knows that Danceny has a nobleman of lesser rank, naive, young, and not particularly wealthy, can never qualify as a bona fide suitor. Valmont gains access to Cecile's, and he seduces her. He was around there. He was whole, okay? But this was the most interesting part was him trying to seduce Tavel, and it says after a night of Valmont's bed, Cecile miscarries her child. Meanwhile, Valmont has won Tourville's heart, but at a cost. The lifelong bachelor playboy falls in love. In a fit of jealousy, Myrtille mocks Valmont and refuses to honor her end of the agreement unless Valmont breaks up with Tourville. Valmont abruptly dismisses Tourville with a terse excuse suggested by Myrtille. It's beyond my control. Overwhelmed with grief and shame, Tourville retreats to a monastery where her health deteriorates rapidly. It's just a sad story. And this woman, what I love about this dangerous liaisons is they tricked her. But this playboy who's running around here hoeing with everybody and who was trying to seduce her, but he falls in love with her. He realizes that he really falls for her. So but he's still prideful and arrogant, and he's destroyed her life, and she's destroyed it too, and she is so, I don't know if she was so in love with him. I keep questioning. I was watching this, and I was like, because she goes to a monastery, and she, this is my probably my third, fourth time seeing this, but she goes to the monastery and she falls apart. She's dying because he's treated her so bad. But I'm wondering more, was it her pride and that all the destructive things that she had done for this love? Like, it's like you reject me after I've destroyed everything around me to love you. I don't know if it was him. I don't know. I think it was more pride and the destructive nature of it. And in the end, she dies, and that, I hate to tell you the story, but I still should see it. And he ends up dying in a fight or something. And then he sends a note over before she dies to say, tell her I loved her. No, I would have been like, I would have spit on that. See, listen, my Scorpio ass would have been like, yeah, first of all, I ain't falling on no bed now. Okay. I'm for the bounce back. I'll bounce my ass back. Right? It would have been, I thought to myself, how much of a better story would have been to bounce back? But I thought how she was so wounded by her own destruction and her love for this man. It was just crazy, like the trick. Like to try to play a trick on a woman who is religious and spiritual, to try to take her and then to lie to her, and then to really be in love with her, but then play in her face. Oh, it's just such a horrible, torrid love story. But yeah, so that's been my week. Okay, that's some of the stuff I've been watching. I thought it was interesting. Y'all got to watch that Dangerous Liaisons, okay? Oh my God, you know, and you know what they made they made a modern day version of Dangerous Liaisons too, like a high school version or something. I seen one night. It was so good. Yes, they did. I can't even remember what it was on, but it was good. I think it was like I forget. I don't know if they changed the name or something. But very good. Dangerous Liaisons might be a fun one to bring to stage, like a stage play. I love the subject matter. Tricking this nice religious wife of Parliament who's pious and spiritual. And here comes old Playboy Valmont trying to see what other people. I mean, it's just crazy. Crazy story, okay? All right, you guys, let me move on to the next thing we talking about out here. Yeah, my Scorpio ass been a bounce back on you. He'd have to fall out somewhere. I'd be to sit that letter back with some something crazy on it. Okay, y'all, let me pull this out. What am I trying to bring back up my face? I don't know what's going on. I'm having heck with my page. Hold on. Okay, let's see some of the stuff we need to talk about. Okay, yeah. So okay, I saw this. The smart money isn't moving to Africa. I don't know why everybody trying to get us to move to Africa. What is going on that y'all trying to get us back to Africa? What is going on around here right now? But Bishop Jakes was having an interview with somebody on his show. So let me show y'all this. Hold on, y'all. Try to get it so you guys can see. Okay. So Bishop Jakes was having this discussion. It was very interesting. So I'm gonna try to bring it. Okay. All right, you guys. So let's take a listen to this. Can y'all hear?
Exchange in Zimbabwe and in the UK, so it is possible to invest in those companies. From here, you don't necessarily have to get on a plane and go over to Africa to invest in Africa. Talk to us a little bit about how that can be done, because what this is really all about is a global conversation about how we can strengthen each other economically and bypass middlemen and create opportunities for the transference of wealth.
You know, the big problem is there is a silent war to keep us apart. Silent war. And the issue is not about money, it's about the mindset. So that's where the real challenge becomes. And actions like this that you're taking begin to thaw and begins to create the opportunity for us to talk together. One of the ladies I was talking to says she does tours, bringing African Americans into Africa. Unfortunately, until we get more and more and more and more of us doing that, it will not happen.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, I also think that there's trust that needs to be built, because you'll hear many people say, oh, I'm not going to be going down to Africa because I'm afraid of all of the scams and so forth that happen. So it's really important when you have a platform like you've given us today, that when you're going to try to play in Africa, make sure that you identify brothers and sisters who have got a track record and who are going to be able to give you an authentic business opportunity where you're not going to have the scams. So, it's about partnering and collaborating and speaking and coming together to build.
Two of the companies that you started hit the stock exchange in Zimbabwe and in the UK. So it is possible to invest in those companies. From here, you don't necessarily have to get on a plane and go over to Africa to invest in Africa. Talk to us a little bit about how that can be done, because what this is really all about is a global conversation about how we can strengthen each other economically and bypass middlemen.
Okay, and I don't believe that smart money isn't moving to Africa. Investing, if you would like to invest into Africa and stuff like that, is fine. I don't believe there's a move to keep us apart because Black people are trying to delineate, Black Americans are trying to have delineation from understanding that we are our own ethnic group. After 500 to 600 years in America soil, we have been mixed with the Native American, the white man, everybody else. Okay, so we have become something else. So us saying we're Black Americans, Adolf, FBA, whatever, but we're delineating from Africa. Doesn't mean that we don't respect Africa. And hey, if God call you to move there, then God call you. But other than that, no. We gotta have some respect for ourselves and what our own people have done within 500 to 600 years of being the true American thing. Okay, so yeah, but very interesting. I thought that was okay. I don't know where they got that up there. Smart money moving to Africa. Cause they ain't talking nothing about moving to Africa, but yeah, interesting. Okay. To go back to that's what I'm talking about. I saw something that was really funny. A young lady talking about, should a woman get paid for being a man's muse? I thought that was hilarious. You guys she always has some very interesting commentary. You guys check her out. She's from Africa and I forget her name. Her name is Slumflower. She's very interesting. Okay. But check that out. It was pretty funny. I was like, Hey, let's see. Okay, I saw something about Jill Scott I thought was really good. Let me see. Okay, I want to put this up here for y'all for what Jill's talking. Okay.
Particular bullshit where we're dealing with family members or people that we love and love us I wanted to address the fact that we get stuck in these circles, this secular bullshit, where we're, dealing with family members or people that we love and love us, but they use the hell out of us, and they use us and don't benefit from it. If you're gonna use me, I need to see you blossom from it. If you're going to ask me to take care of something for you, I need you to blossom from it. And guess what? I'm going to give you I'm going to give you a loan. It's a loan, okay? There won't be any kind of interest on it. These are the payments. Respect me enough to do that. More than likely, I'll stop asking for the payments, or I'll say, thank you, that's enough. You're just showing me that you actually are going to do something with this time, energy, love, support that I have. Things have changed in that way. I wanted to address the fact that we get.
And I totally agree with Jill Scott. I learned this lesson several years ago. One of my good friends, her mom, me, I remember me and her was talking, and I was like, why are we never growing? We was talking about, money and wanting to grow to a certain level. She said to me, one of the things she said that we do, that spiritual, we sow on bad ground. And I said, oh, wait a minute, what you mean? She said, my mama was telling me this. Her mom was a spiritual woman, and she said, we sow into people that we don't get nothing back from. And we constantly giving out our energy, our time, our money, our things. When we sow, we are supposed to, she said, we come, because we came from the tradition. We both went to Oral Roberts University together years ago. And we come from that tradition where you seed faith. You sow, you're supposed to expect something back. When you put seed into someone or seed into the ground, you expect farmers expect a harvest. You have an expectation for what you get back. And she said, we're not making sure that we're planting on good ground. So every time we plant on bad ground, what happens to a farmer when he plants on bad ground? He has a bad crop. It affects everything in him. It affects his finances. It affects his money. I was like, oh my God, you right. So what Jill is saying, this circular bullshit and stuff like that. And she's saying, hey, when I sow in you, I want you to use me for good things. I want to see it show up in your life in some sort of way. Whether I sow my time, my advice, my money, my friendship. I just recently had a friendship a few years ago that ended because of money. And it wasn't, no, let me take that back. It was not because of money. The friend thought it was because of money, but for me, it was because of principle. Because I had expected more from her. I gave her a situation and gave her a loan. Not that I got money, but I gave this particular friend, and she was supposed to give it back at a certain time, and she did. Now we've been friends for many years, okay. And I would expect her to say to me, hey, girl, I'm trying to go do this or whatever. But she didn't do that. She kept ignoring me, kept doing this different stuff. She kept being mean. It was mean. It started being mean to me. I'm like, why are you being mean to me? And I'm like, Jill, I would have just knocked it off. Been like, okay, girl, don't worry about it. If you want to, if it would have been proper like that, but it wasn't. And finally, I said to her, I said, I don't want you ever to think this is about, because this is that person I've been going through with anyway. I was constantly sowing seeds and never getting nothing back. Every year. And I said, it is not because I don't love you. And it is not because of the money. It's because you don't respect me. You don't respect what it took to get that. So I gotta let you go, boo. And she went around told friends, she mad at me because of this, and I was going through this. It was none of that. It was because of the principle of the matter. Because you didn't respect me enough to tell me what was going on, because you thought of me so little. And really what it was like when I heard from different friends, It was really like, she got it. What she worried about? She ain't blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, how you know I got it? It was really an energy of kind of like a I don't know what it was, but it wasn't right. And I knew I couldn't keep sewing into that friendship, and I couldn't keep sewing into that to it, period. I had to short right out. But I understood what Jill said. And to this, I'm like that now. And I hope for people to be like that with me. You can't invest in people and not expect something great back from them. You know what I'm saying? And not expect for people to respect you. So I love this. Well, Jill's been on this, honey. Jill been on this little education girl, powerful tour. She been dropping dimes. But it's true. It is very true. If a lot of y'all, you constantly sewing into people, you constantly giving into people, and you constantly seeing yourself depleted, drained, maybe sometimes have financial issues, stuff like that. Look at the seed, the people, and who you sowing to, who you sowing your good seed and your time, energy, money, food, whatever you're doing, and see if it's giving a return to you. I was even telling one of my friends this about some of her kids, one of her kids. I was saying, girl, ain't no way. I was telling her, you have to, because this particular friend was working so hard for this particular, she wouldn't for their kid go to school and everything. Only for their kid to out here be fucking around. I'm like, that's because she don't respect the seed you've been sowing. And if you let her get away with that, if she doesn't respect the value of what you have put into your life, some of y'all need to be that way with your kids. You let your kids, you let your kids use you, but not do nothing with it. Yeah, I paid their way through school. I'm working hard every day. I done spend this and that, only for them to be up there partying all day. I remember I would have pledged this material fraternity, and I had, and I had met my first semester. I had just like acted a fool my first semester of school when I went to the school. Second semester, my grades had gotten a whole lot better, but I wanted to pledge this particular fraternity, and it cost a bunch of money. And so I went home. I told my grandma, I said, I wanted to talk to you, and she's like, mm-hmm. I can still see her sitting there with her glasses. I said, I want to pledge, blah, blah, blah. She said, now how much did that cost? Looking at me, I said, and I told her, I think it was like $750 or something like that. It was crazy, so crazy. She said, so let me get this. She said, you want me to pay for you to go join this, blah, 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 after you done played around your first semester? I said, but I did get a sex with her. She said, but you still think just because you did better, I need to see that you do better the next semester. You think I'm going to put money into you when you look like a losing horse right now? I was like, what? Girl, pay for your own thing. You got a job this summer. But I ain't putting no money. I ain't betting on you. The way you playing around here. She was right not to do so. And that was it. Did not play with me. Now, you are not about to play around my time and my money. We work too hard up in here. We gave you too much that you got the right to do that. Go up there. We sit you up and you said you want to go. I was like, dang. Yeah. And it wasn't, and she said, it ain't really that deep to you if you don't want to pay for it. And at that time, I had just got a really nice job in the summer, and I ended up working that job for many years. But she was like, It ain't really, I mean, you don't really. I said, she is a trip. But she was serious. And I said, boy, a lot of y'all need to be doing that to your kids. Some of your kids, they need to pay for their own shit. If they can't, if you sewing into them and they keep being there, they need to value it. And maybe if when you paying for it, it'd be a lot different. But if somebody don't take advantage of what you give them and use you, listen, I'm with Jill all the way on that, okay? I love that. I love what she had to say there. Okay. Now moving on to the next. Okay, we talked about Nick Cannon. He talked about the Democrats being a party of KKK. Y'all need to read history. That's all I'll say about that. Okay. Carrie Hilson. Carrie Hilson back in these streets. And I've said it before. And I really don't want to talk about it again, but because it's news, I will talk about it. And I like Carrie Hilson. I really do. Carrie Hilson I like her. But she's got to quit talking about this story. And she's got to stop letting people invite her places and putting this story in her face. There is much more interesting things about you. And so the fuck what you had a little song coming at Beyonce. Don't nobody care. Who is Beyonce? I wish Carrie had the hustle she had back 10 years ago. But with the fake beehive, the bee swarm, it's really bots. Ran her out of town. Girl, here she is back. Looking sad and dejected. Last time she was crying on the show, I was like, I was done with her when I saw her crying. I said, look at Carrie crying. My goodness. Sometimes you have to apologize for things. Then there are times you got to stand 10 toes down. You know what I'm saying? And stand your ground. Now, let me see. Put this up here. Y'all can see Carrie answering the same question she's been answering for the last 10 years. And she needs to stop letting them get her into this question. And she crying again. Why is she crying again? She crying. This is the second. Oh, God, it's so pitiful. Oh, my God. Carrie, read the room. These two people they going through the hardest time. You ain't got to cry about Beyonce's ass no more. Beyonce's husband's name was in the Epstein files as a sellout. They was talking that the alleged executive was calling saying he's a black person that hold the other black people down to keep them from raising ruckus about bad deal. You ain't got, these are people who are losing power steadily every day. That's why they out here doing tours, selling gumbo, chicken soup, ice cream cones, hair products. What you out here crying for, girl? Lord have mercy. This girl's out here crying. Let's look at Kim.
Yes. And people love to flex them when they want to convince you or force you to do something that you don't want to do. Power dynamics are real. This is how I learned that. I didn't even know the phrase back then, but that's exactly what was happening.
Oh, listen to
These are people that had my career in the palm of their hands, and at the push of a button, it could all go away. And that was very much the threat. Very verbal was that threat. Very verbal, very verbatim.
I don't believe that.
You know, what choice did I feel I had at 22 years old?
Oh,
with grown men, millionaires, people who were literally but still, I didn't believe what they believed. I didn't see the world the way they saw the world. To this day, I just wish I lost my deal. That was the threat for me. I wish I just gave up. Like, all right, well, if that's what you guys are trying to make me, I wish. The world saw it the way they saw it, and they felt the way they felt about someone deserving of that. And at the time, like, who is Carrie Hilson?
Yeah.
Like, why would she think she's equal to, you know?
Did it make it awkward for you when you ran into artists like Beyonce, or perhaps you were in the same space?
We shared the same space several times. It was awkward for me,
For
maybe for her too.
Yeah.
You know, but she introduced herself, we shook hands, at that point was a moot point, I guess. It was kind of during the backlash. She's probably like, she's had enough. Hi, I'm Beyonce, you know. She's probably like, yeah, she's going through enough about that.
Yeah.
I remember begging them
She
to tell her
knew.
the truth.
She probably knew.
She probably knew who was behind, maybe. But to this day, like I begged.
Yes.
I begged.
And I
begged
appreciate you being.
for them to tell her the truth. Can you please at least look, if the world is bashing me, can she at least know the real deal? Can you at least, so I can sleep? Yeah. Because I suffered.
Girl.
I suffered.
Girl.
But I at least just wanted her to know that wasn't me.
Yeah.
Thank you for being vulnerable and speaking your piece on that,
Oh God, poor me.
Very real. Thank you. And
Carrie,
you know, your spirit precedes you. You're very transparent, so that's another aspect of it.
They told me so many times. I didn't know you were gonna ask anything about this, but I've been told by my PR, I've been told by so many people in my camp, like, hey, just avoid. Can I get a piece of tissue, Mia, please?
Look at her crying again. Oh Lord.
I've been told so many times, avoid that question, you're done talking about that.
Yes, you are.
I didn't mean to.
Right.
No, it's okay. It's not.
That's the only,
you didn't know. Oh,
because Carrie, it's the only thing interesting about you. Oh my God, I'm tired. The PR team is right, and it's getting repetitive. Girl, you are grown, 22 grown. If you didn't want to do that, well, it's the end of my career. And people were saying you was acting funny when people would ask you about Beyonce or say something to you about Beyonce at events, like you didn't like her or something like that. Carrie, I don't believe it was just all them men in a room telling you, we gonna put. I like to hear them men's story too. I don't know if I believe you, because you was defiant several years ago. Who cares? First off, Beyonce ain't she might have dressed up as Marie Antoinette, but she ain't no fucking queen. What the fuck is going on around here? Even though she's the queen to the beehive. Nobody else, the bee swarm. Nobody else. And then she was dressed up as a queen who was unaware of what was going on in the outside world. Jesus, my God, I got that t-shirt somewhere too. It was one of the most mysterious things. I said, who dressed her up as Marie Antoinette? Did they not know how the end of her life ended, how it went to the end? Her and her husband were beheaded. Ooh. Carrie. They told me and she about to tell why she I just want Beyonce to know, that's why I just want to know the truth. God, this is crazy. Are they signing you to Rock Nation or something?
You doing this? Thank you, Ray. Thank you. I can't help it because I am an open book, and I'm like, I'm finally being heard about it.
Yes.
I didn't feel like in prior years, I didn't feel confident enough to come out because it would have also meant throwing others under the bus. So I ate it. I ate it by myself. I stood there crucified by myself. I didn't put the blame where it actually belonged. I took a piece of it. I deserved a piece of it, is what I mean.
Yes,
I deserved the piece that I,
quit trying to
but there were others involved.
Absolutely.
And yes.
And people will leave you out there holding the bag.
Hello.
Let's be clear about that.
And they did. Did anybody see anybody ever come to my rescue? Did anyone ever see anybody say anything about who Carrie really is or what she actually, how that went down? No one ever came out with the truth. I just took the blows. I just stood in the ring getting beat the hell up. Yeah. But I stayed there.
The real
you can't say Carrie ain't P. You cannot say I'm not player. You cannot say that. Respect. As if I were the only, like, I just, okay, took it on the chin. Okay, I guess that's the end of my career.
Yeah. Respect.
That's what I thought. That's what you felt.
Yeah.
That's what I felt.
And here you stand.
Like, see it.
But here I stand.
That's
right.
It's real. And thank you again, Karen. I can't say that enough because
I ain't never. She's a
it's
Sagittarius.
obviously who you are, your mental health.
That was definitely one of the things that did impact my mental health. It was certainly one of the biggest things in my lifeline. One of, not the only, but one of. It's funny, this is a delicate conversation, obviously. But it's funny that you mentioned the athletic piece, because when I played ball, I am a finesse or fundamental player. I'm not a dirty player. I never was. I don't think like that. I don't operate in any facet of anything like that. I'm not a nasty, undercutting, I'm just not. And I'm a girl's girl, and I'm a fan of Beyonce and many other females. Like I came in the game like looking up to her. Who didn't? We all did. So, but when you're signed to those who play differently, approach the game differently, they're a different kind of athlete. And you end up being, I've used the word forced, I've used the word threatened. They're both true. They just sound really harsh. To say things that you don't even believe.
Yeah.
I didn't write it. I get to the studio and this is there for me, and I had.
Carrie, this is not the reason you ain't making it. Shit. I'm tired of this bullshit. This is an excuse we're using. And you keep talking about it because it's the only fucking thing interesting. Oh my God, Carrie. Carrie, it's time. Let's have a come to Jesus meeting. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I did it on Blog Talk. I don't want to do it now. Beyonce, I don't even believe Beyonce blacklisted. Beyonce played like, bitch, I ain't even got time to blacklist. Beyonce selling cookie pies and chicken and Adidas, and she didn't have time to be blacklisting. She probably laughed about the whole thing. Sit your ass down. What, you didn't even say nothing that deep, Carrie. It wasn't even that memorable, to be honest. Yes, the Beehive came after you for 5 seconds. And they show up like in little bots every now and then. You know what I'm saying? But Carrie, this is not the reason. This is not what is going on with the career. I'm just going to be honest here. Like, is anybody going to be honest? Because I think Carrie is wanting this to be the focus of this is what happened to me. It was in my end of my career. It was and I saw India Arie on the side talking about this is coercion. What happened to her was coercion. Okay, maybe so, but she did it. She was old enough. She did. I would say, hey, it was stupid. I did something stupid back there. It is what it is. I said what I said. And, hey, I've apologized for it. I ain't going back there. Okay. But not Carrie, because Carrie wants to believe this is the reason the career is not doing well. And this is not the reason. Beyonce, I told you Beyonce and them in trouble right now. They ain't got time to be blackballing your ass. What's going on, Carrie, is you just as an artist, I'm going to just be honest. I don't really know who Carrie Hilson is. I just really don't. I like the Eric Benet song. That's my son right there. Can't wait to get, what's the song? Because Eric did that. I can't wait to, what is it? Step in there with you. Carrie, for some reason, it looked right. I don't know. It was something that between that video, Eric Benet sound, everything where Eric captured this kind of girl who is classy, grown looking, very beautiful, but it wasn't too young or youthful. It was like right where it should be. Eric got it for a second. Carrie, it's something about your image. It's something about it all. Okay, I don't know what it is. I just don't know. Pretty Girl Rock. The song stood out more, but it's something going on with the whole Carrie Hilson thing. I don't think it's Beyonce. I think that's the excuse you love to use. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. I just did. They made me do it when I was in the studio, and I took the hit. That was not. No, I bet Jay-Z and them probably sitting around talking about. Did you call somebody Beyonce? They didn't call nobody Carrie. I don't think Carrie. The issue is not Beyonce and Jay-Z blackballing you. It's just that, and now often I think what happens sometimes, songwriters, because she was a songwriter first, I think, songwriters have a hard time sometimes transferring into the front of the thing. The recording industry is so different. You really have to translate who you are. It's not just about being a great artist musically and stuff. You also have to have your music, your whole look, everything speaks to you as an artist. You're selling this person of yourself. And sometimes one of the hardest things it is to do is to translate, for an artist to translate who they are to the general public. She wants to think that Beyonce saying that little ass stupid stuff she said years ago about Beyonce, go sit your ass down and all this, so Beyonce probably laughed. Or she might have been mad, I don't know. That little shit she said is the reason that she got blackballed. No, girl, it was falling off before then. Now I might have give you a temporary hit, but since then, it is not, you putting far too much in Jay-Z and Beyonce to have done you like that. Latoya Luckett didn't even made her way back with a couple of songs, and she was in when Destiny's Child, they was having arguments for years, and she came back with a little album. Girl, it is not this Beyonce thing. It is you, Carrie. It is your lack of understanding who you are as an artist and how to translate it to the general public. And the reason why this story keeps coming up over and over and over and over again, because motherfuckers ain't got nothing else to talk to you about. Am I done? Am I go? Should I go? I go now. Where should we go now? Should I go? I know if I was a record exec, I'd tell her that. I said, if you don't stop that damn story, because this ain't the problem we got. And it's not that Carrie isn't beautiful and top, but I tell you, Eric did get it for a second. I don't even know. Eric Benet got it for a second. He got out of, because I think he wrote that song on Do It. And the look she had, it was just, I almost was like, yeah. But it's something going on with her. Some artists, it's just hard. It's hard sometimes maybe you're a better songwriter. I ain't saying stop doing music. You can probably still do music for fun, for your life and all this, but quit sharing this story like Beyonce and Jay-Z. You see, this is why y'all still bad. This is why I can't make no hit. No, it's not. Quit telling this story. And you're starting to sound like you passing off responsibility. Shit. See, they made me do it. They made me do it. And I remember your ass being kind of defiant back then. I was like, somebody, you just be like, well, no, you should have been like, you didn't seem like that. You kind of seemed like you wasn't feeling it. And I wouldn't be mad at you if you wasn't. Because Beyonce, you know why I ain't mad at Carrie Hilson? Because Beyonce is one of the most competitive mofos in music. Oh, no. We're not going to do this. We're not going to fucking do this. All you girls out there be like, Beyonce's just a genuine soul. What did I say out here on the other side here? Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. What is it? What somebody said? They said Carrie solid. Now they somebody said it's a whole new generation out here. I would not be talking about this in 2026. uh this somebody said Beyonce's also always so gracious. Beyonce is okay. That's the overall act. Let me just say this: Beyonce though on her songs is not gracious at all. I can't blame her because I see she's eons ahead of you girls with work ethic. But moving on, come on again. You know, Beyonce is like, I'm the diva, bitch. I'm that bitch. You can't fuck with me. I'm that girl. That she's one of the most competitive. Listen. She ain't nice to you girls on her songs. She's always calling you out. Carrie, she learned something from you, boo. What you talking about, Carrie? What you acting like you gave Beyonce a whole new genre. She out here, I'm not the diva. She started doing all kind of stuff then. Diva is the female feeling of the hustler. That bitch started going all around talking, man. Bitch, I can't fuck with me. I always bragging. Motherfucker brags all day long, okay? And competitive with all you girls. She got smoke for all of y'all out there. She's like, I got smoke for everybody. What is you talking about? Why is you on here? Oh God, it's the second time I can't stand it. It's tiring. I'm tired of her. Even Kelly done had a hit album. You sitting on here crying, playing games. Hey, I ain't got time, girl. Stop it. This is not the reason you ain't making it. The reason, as I said, you ain't making it is there's nothing else to talk about. And I said years ago when you was in that movie, Bishop J Lifetime, Fighting Temptation, I loved her in the movies. I loved her look. And I was like, what Carrie should have been doing is doing something with Janelle Monáe. And even though Janelle Monáe translates, she's just a little odd and different. But what you should have been doing is what Janelle Monáe, when she's understanding, the music goes, and even though that last album was excellent, and I'm not a big Janelle Monáe person, but I love the last one. You should have been over there establishing yourself in film and learning imaging in that way, because you're a good actress, and kind of establishing some sort of thing for yourself. But for some reason, I don't know what's happened there. You still trying to do out here the music thing right now, and I feel like the music thing ain't translating. It ain't got nothing to do with Beyonce. It ain't got nothing to do with the fake ass B Swarm. It has got everything to do with you, mama. And the fact that you had to go see my publicist and them tell me not to tell the story. No, because you keep telling that story because they ain't got nothing else to talk about. They trying to find shit to talk about. Let's see. What can we talk about with her? You are not coming across as very interesting. I like Carrie during COVID when she was pissing y'all off saying conspiracy theorists and stuff. At least I was starting to see some form of personality. I ain't saying you got to go back there, but I was like, oh, bitch, she got a little hustle. But other than that, it's you very Carrie. You're very. I mean, it's like I don't even know what to say. It's kind of like a blank canvas. It's kind of like I really don't know what you are. I don't really know how to define you as an artist. And I felt like when I saw you doing Pretty Girl Rock, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Even though I love Pretty Girl Rock, that's one of my favorite songs. But let me tell you, I thought it felt like a woman up. Not that she looks, because Carrie is beautiful, but it felt, even when she was young, like an older person doing a young song. Because she's a classic beauty. Carrie, it doesn't have the look that the other girls has. She has a very classic look, and she doesn't know how to translate that. Oh, but I felt like what's his name did. I felt let me see if we can find that here on here. I felt like that video gave her a picture of what she could do. I don't know, it's like, she got a Whitney Houston look, like Whitney in the 80s, but she don't got a Whitney voice. And so she got to find some sort of way to make herself youthful, even though she got a nice voice. But let me see. Yeah. Uh, Let me see if I can find Eric. I'm gonna just let y'all see a little. Just I just really like this look for her. Okay. Okay. Just I want y'all to see. I'm gonna try to keep it. We won't get, but I want y'all to see the y'all can go watch the video, okay? But I love the look what he did in the do with her look. And it for the first time I felt like, yes, this feels Carrie Hilson. I feel like I'm seeing her. You know, let me see her. It felt like I'm seeing, but I want to put when she comes in. It just felt finally like I got in the song I actually loved for her. The song fit her. Everything just felt it felt kind of good. It was I mean, I just was like, yeah. She ain't came on yet, so I would. And this I love the song by the way. But it felt mature. It felt like who she is. I think I was kind of getting it, but wait, is you seeing her a little bit? But I'm trying to. There she. Okay. See, I feel there you are. I love this look. It feels right. And there it is, Carrie. That's what you're missing. This was the look. It was mature because you are older. You look mature, not you look old. You just look like a mature. You look like you give me Whitney Houston vibes, but you don't have that Whitney Houston voice. So you're gonna have to play up that sex appeal. And I feel like this video had you like yes, show your height or your legs. It wasn't crazy outfits like you got on right there at that interview. I mean, it was. I think you gotta stay in this right here. Like I think like you gotta stay like the tall, sexy. Show them like. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I need to see something because I don't. Otherwise, sometimes I'll be like, "Who is this?" I felt was Carrie Hilson. Y'all go watch this video in like the whole video. I felt like for the first time I was like, this, there it is. There it is. Then I saw a video of hers not too long ago. I was like, nope, we're not gonna do this. Oh, I feel like this Carrie Hilson's look right there. The look right for Carrie Hilson that was right for Carrie Hilson was a look in a Eric Benet video. Can't wait, and I love the song. I even like the sound for her. Everything because she has such a classic old school movie star look, kind of like what Whitney Houston did. Okay, so she has to play up, but she has body yada yada for days. So she has to play up the height. There's like she in this video, they catching her at the right angles. It seems so sexy, and that song is so sexy. Can't wait to get up in this thing with you. I mean, it's just a whole little. I mean, it's a vibe, and it felt right. I was like, oh my God, there it is. That's what Carrie Hilson needs, not another one of those tired Beyonce stories. She doesn't need that anymore. She doesn't need to go around crying about Beyonce blackballing her because that's not really the problem. The problem is that Carrie has no image. And we don't know who she is as an artist. Has nothing to do with Beyonce and this long story about what happened 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Nobody gives a shit. I mean, it just doesn't. I mean, I hate this. I hate for her that she still feels this way. I hate that she's still running around crying. You know, when it's just a simple, this, you know, sometimes people need to have to come to Jesus meeting, you know, and I mean, maybe Beyonce and Jay-Z affected you a little bit, but not all these years, girl. You don't need, I'm with your published. You do not need to tell that story no more. And if I told it, I'd be laughing about it. Like, man, they had me in the studio and, you know, I went for it. Shoot. I was like, you know, yeah. But other than she crying and looking, that ain't helping it. Okay. That ain't helping it because it looks like you trying to use that as an excuse. That always goes viral as the clip they pull out of that interview. I'm sure he talked to you about more. But the interesting thing, part of that clip for the bloggers was you crying about what happened with Beyonce 100 years ago. And the truth of the matter is that is not the reason that your career has not taken off. My personal opinion about Carrie Hilson and the reason her career is not taking off is because the most interesting thing about her is what happened to her 15 years ago with Beyonce doing that little Beyonce song, okay? And Pretty Girl Rock. Since then, you've lived in this world thinking that Beyonce and Jay-Z blackballed you. And meanwhile, it's just really, you ain't got no, girl, you just really ain't got no imaging. We just really don't know who you are as an artist. And it really translated with Eric Benet. That it really did. It seemed like they hit them. Whoever did that video and dressed you for that video and stuff, they need to be your stylist. And I love the sound of that. That song was tight. And she needs that kind of sound. It seems like to me, Carrie's always trying to either do something too boring or too young or it just, because she has to be careful because she looks, like I said, classic. So because she has that classic look, and it tends to make her give her an older aesthetic. Not that she looks old, it just gives her an older aesthetic. And she's always looked like that to me. It's like when they with Whitney. Whitney always had some women have a sense of like like when you see Diane Carroll had an inner class to her that she just never left. And it defined her. Carrie's in that range. She has this inner class in her. So did Whitney. And so it's hard for you to play like the girls play. Like it's hard to do a Beyonce because Beyonce can be sexy, but she can also be classy. Beyonce can be a number of things, okay? Because her aesthetic just looks that way. She just has a versatile, but Carrie has this inner energy of class that limits certain things. Like I said, like a Diane Carroll, she gives me Diane Carroll energy. She gives me Whitney Houston energy at the height of her career. Even no matter what Whitney did, even when Whitney was at her like craziest on the Bobby Brown show, Whitney, even when she was saying crazy stuff, she always had that air of class. No matter if even if she tried to be as hood as she wanted to be. Okay. So I just feel that that's what's going on with Carrie. And Carrie's trying to try all these things to see if shit sticks to the wall. And meanwhile, she out here thinking in her mind that I've been blackballed. Because you telling this story over and over feels like you trying to bring that up, or they bring it up I really believe they bring it up because it ain't nothing else to talk about. It's true. So we're gonna end it here. I want Carrie to stop crying. I don't want to hear this story no more. Unless we're gonna tell it from a place of strength and not be asking nobody for no Kleenex. And I want the next time you come on an interview, you to have something interesting about who you are. Or have found yourself as an artist. Because this is the real problem with Carrie Hilson. It ain't Beyonce. It ain't Jay-Z. It ain't none of that. Ain't no blackballing. Ain't no what you said 20 years ago. Girl, it's not none of that. And if not, go and be a great songwriter. Okay. Moving on. It's tight, but it's right. And I like Carrie. Okay. Carlotta, you think Carrie can be a singer though? Yes, I do. But I think that Carrie doesn't want to take the time to hone in who she is as an artist. I think Eric Benet gave her a gift by doing that song because I think it's somewhere right around in that energy. I think that video and everything says a lot about what she comes off as. And if she can manage to translate that style, that energy, the style of that song, everything over into everything, Carrie could she could hit it big. But she ain't taking no time. She keep coming out here crying, talking about Beyonce's story and giving these half-ass songs that don't go with her look, that don't feel like her. You just be like, okay. Lord have mercy. Moving on, chat. Let's see what we're going to talk about next, what we're supposed to be on here. Okay. Okay, y'all. Trying to find out what. I don't know what is going on with the. Okay, yeah, I'm trying to get. Trying to get the page back up, y'all. It's acting up right now. Let's see. I'm trying to talk about the next story, but my thing is acting up. Hold on, y'all. We're going to take a quick break and I'll come back and we'll finish talking about this. Okay, guys, I'll be right back in a second, right? All right, you guys, I am back. Okay, so another interesting thing I wanted to talk about was I saw this the other day, or I guess Eric Lennox has been going around doing a lot of having a lot of conversations, and I thought this was very interesting when she talked about ambitious about uh, how ambitious women have a hard time finding people. So let's take a listen to this and. Women just don't get it, do they? Listen. Okay. Like men. First of all, Jay-Z really built his career up. Okay, he really didn't. He didn't just stop at getting with Beyonce. He also started being a big time, or looking like he was a big time executive. Beyonce, when Beyonce got with him, he was kind of big. He was kind of even keel. Even he's taken his career in some ways further than Beyonce on the business side. Beyonce has work is really, even though she works and tours and everything, she's very much in her femininity, and she can be very much in her femininity because Jay-Z is a master executive. It's not just about men. Um, Let me see something. Hold on here. Um, let's see. Let's read what I said. It's not just about you coming in with your thing. It's not that men, and it's not that men don't be impressed by things like that, but it's just that men do sit in their I believe in their a lot of their masculinity when they're able to succeed and stuff like that. A lot of times men don't like. Oh, I can't find it here, y'all. So a lot of times men do have a problem with uh, women who's successful and they're less than successful. They're not as successful. That happens from time to time. If men, and a lot of times what happens nowadays too, a lot of women will build up all these aesthetics of career goals, doing all these things, but they don't work on their femininity. They don't work on who they are as a woman internally, spiritually, all those things, because getting those things that don't take a that don't people can do that. That there are certain things that men need as men, and they need to know that you can sit in that well. It's not just about I'm able to get a bunch of stuff, I'm able to this and that. And look, if you look at the Proverbs 31 woman, in Proverbs 31, she was a woman who had her own stuff, who had her own business and stuff, but she also was a woman of, I would, I'm not, you don't necessarily have to be homebound, but she was a woman who took care of her home a lot too. Okay. So it's not just about just impressing. If you're getting things out here to impress men, because there are women who don't do as much. And they're very impressive to men, right? And it's not that you are better than that girl or better than that person. It's just that she chose a different way to move, okay? And it doesn't mean that women who are successful don't attract successful men. It's just your energy, the energy in which you come in. And that's what I really think was going on with a lot of women. A lot of women come in masculine, a lot of heavy masculine energy. And a lot of the men are not interested in too much masculine energy because they want to be the masculine energy in the room. Now, there are some men who don't mind that. Very few, but most men, there tends to be problems when you're, for a man, you have to be a very special man or be with a woman like before she was big in some ways to grow with a woman who's more powerful and financial. Because men feel that it hurts their masculinity in some ways, okay? So yeah, and then also, is that the most impressive thing about you? What else is impressive about you? Those are beautiful things, and those are beautiful things that add to you. But what is it that who you are as a person? What do you bring? When you're saying to me and you want to establish yourself, you would like to one day be dating a man and eventually be his wife. What does that mean? What does that mean? And what does that mean that you bring to him, like you offer him in that sense? What does being a wife mean? If that's what your ultimate goal is, what does that look like? And can I give it to this man? You know? So it's just not just about your just, hey, I bought so many property and stuff like that. It's more about other things. And those are just nice things you bring to the table, you know? That's what I'll just say for y'all on that. So, but men are just not as interested in the same things that we as women are interested, in my personal opinion. Okay. Okay. Now, I didn't like this video. No, I saw it. A mother talking to her daughter. And I want to say a lot of things about this because it just was, I just didn't like it. Okay. Let me share this. Okay, this video went viral about a woman talking to her daughter. She said, I don't want my child walking around my man with provocative clothes on.
You need to dress appropriately. Up your man in the house? No, I'm rallying up you. You need to dress appropriately, okay? Or you're going to get out of my house. No, you said, don't refer to me as girl. I brought you outside to tell you cannot walk around my man with this robe on. I don't know if you have clothes under there or not. You do not walk around my man with the robe on, okay? Why you got Angela? Hollering at me? Because you don't at him. If you watching me, that's a problem. I'm a child. You're not a child. You 18. I don't want you walking. Watch me and you gonna fuss at me? You need to dress appropriately. Up your man in the house? No, I'm rallying up you. You need to dress appropriately, okay? Or you're gonna get out of my house. No, you said don't refer to me as girl. I brought you outside to tell you cannot walk around my man with this robe on. I don't know if you have clothes under there or not. You do not walk around my man with the robe.
Okay, there's so much about this video I do not like. Now, I do believe there are certain parts that mothers do teach their daughters, hey, when a man's around or man's in the house, hey, when you got little brothers or fathers and stuff like that, you learn to dress appropriately as you the older you get, right? And there is something to what the mother is saying. making sure she's properly dressed. But also, I feel like that energy that the mother's giving. You don't dress around my man. Instead of saying, hey, we have male company in the house. Make sure that you are dressed appropriately. Now she's talking about my man, and it sounds like an energy, a certain jealousy issue. It sounds strange the way she's confronting her. You know, and she brought her kid outside in front of a camera to make some sort of point. And she is still a child. She's 18 years old. And let me just say this for you women, because I see this so much. If you are a single mother and you're raising children and you've decided your child is 18 years old and they're still in your house, usually sometimes 18, you can still be a senior. It depends on when you started school or something. Understand, and I really want parents to understand this, single mamas. You need to understand this because a lot of these mamas, a lot of y'all so ratchet, y'all can't wait to have a man. And y'all move a man in on your kid without your kid knowing, without the man knowing your kid really well, without you even getting to know or setting these boundaries up ahead of time. You say, like, my man, don't dress around my man like that. You can get out. No, that child should feel that is that child's house. Yes, it's your house, but it is your child's house. I'm hoping that you, as a mama, worked hard and everything to give your child a safe space and a safe haven until they finish school or whatever, that they can always feel at home in and comfortable. Until you gradually get them to know somebody, and it doesn't seem like what she was going is mommy. There is lots of problems here. I bet it is. And what it seems like is there's a mama that's kind of jealous of her daughter, talking about, you don't bring it inappropriate about my man. That's my man. And she seems more concerned with her man's comfort than her child's comfort. Instead of saying, hey, let me make sure before you come over here, let me make sure all the kids are dressed and everything like that. This is their house, lady. And you more interested in entertaining your man and wondering what he'll think about her, which I am for you teaching your daughters how to dress appropriately when there's male company. But the way she was approaching her, it's giving a lot of young kids are uncomfortable in spaces that they are supposed to feel safe and comfortable in. And mama, she is a child still. She's 18. And she your child. And you can't wait to give your child, throw your child out the house or some dick because of some misunderstanding. And then you're going to embarrass her and put her on video. And bring her outside. You so concerned. You more concerned with your man not seeing her than the whole block. And there are so many women that do this. And there's a lot of women who thought this was okay. It's not okay in the way it's okay. I understand the situation, but it's not okay. I understand addressing it, but it's not okay how she did it and how she approached it. It sounds like a mother who is jealous of her daughter and seeing her man watch her daughter. And your children, you can teach your daughter that, but you would need to let your daughter know somebody's coming to the house. I need you to get dressed. And yes, your house should be a safe space. Shouldn't no niggas that your child don't know be spending the night at your house. Your house should be a safe space. You decided to have them babies. And now you ready to get your party with your own stuff on and stuff like that, and you not being an appropriate parent and making sure the person is not. My personal opinion is, when you got the job of single parenting, you have to be very careful in letting people spend the night over your house, hang out at your house and everything like that. When you have babies, that's your responsibility. That's your baby's safe space. I can see every now and then, but it should be during appropriate hours when the children are dressed. And as a man, if you and a man decide that y'all gonna get serious and everything like that, then there should be a gradual a relationship with the child happening, a gradual relationship. And then if you're going to get married, there's a gradual understanding and getting prepared for that man to move in. But until then, your house should be a safe haven for your children. That is your responsibility, lady. And yes, while I agree, women, with her telling her daughter to be dressed appropriately, look at how she did it. Came out talking about her man and had her on a whole block with the same outfit on. This is a mother that's worried about that man sleeping with both of them. She know the mama know this, he might not be down there. Okay. And yet and still her gut is telling her something. And yet and still and the reason why it's not the what she's telling her that's bad, it's how she's telling her. It says everything is, I'm concerned about him looking at you. So that tells me there's an energy there. It's how she's approaching her daughter with aggression and not with a teaching spirit. And she brought her outside and didn't care about the whole fucking block seeing. And she put her on camera so the whole internet can see it. So she, this is what happens with a lot of women. You'll know in your gut, and you'll know it, and you'll see some man looking at your child or some watching. And you will know it. You will have this feeling, but you trying to ignore the. She shouldn't be dressed like that. Nobody in front of me. Yes, no, she shouldn't. But that's her house. Y'all make y'all homes very unsafe for your child. I saw this on Love After Lockup one night. One woman, she just married some dude in prison and moved this man in her children. You could see her oldest daughter was so uncomfortable, and her oldest daughter was beautiful. You could see the uncomfortableness. And I'm like, you didn't have no safe space. Like she just interested in her getting some dick. Don't look at the safe space for your children. Just a bunch of desperados out here. Some dick. I want some dick so bad. Oh, you can just move in with me and my kids, and my kids ain't got to know you. Call them daddy, kids. They ain't know the man but 5 minutes. Oh my God, it's trifling. Since old girl came out here, Leela Rashawn, lying, because definitely in the 90s was weaves were happening. Okay, that's a lie. Layla, you was probably wearing weaves in. What they used to do was partial sew-ins back then. Okay, it wasn't full head sew-ins. What they would do in men, let me tell you men something, because there's a lie about going on about the 90s. People was wearing weaves in the 90s. Partial sew-ins. Some of them looks that Salt and Pepper had with the hair over the eyes. Some of them was partial sew-ins and all kind of shit. Come on, motherfuckers. We is not going. Y'all better stop up here lying. I knew girls who had their whole head shaved and then would have weave coming down like part of it on they to make it longer in the 90s. Okay, we just had various hairstyles. We weren't just all wearing the long wigs. We wear various things. We had all kind of stuff. Black women have been wearing wigs, and white women too, since the 60s, 70s. It's not new. Tina Turner had wigs on in the 1960s, okay? Fuck y'all crazy. Y'all just trying to always make something. Y'all was because I don't know what's going on. Okay, but listen, somebody said black women are full of shit. This is what this man is saying. Hold on. Let's hear. Let me show y'all. I can show y'all this. Hopefully, I can see it. Okay. Okay. Let's hear this.
The other day, and I just got depressed because I'm looking at a show full of black women and I didn't see any lashes. They were all wearing their natural hair. I didn't see a bunch of clown makeup. The girls were wearing makeup, but it was just the TV makeup. It wasn't the clown makeup that you see nowadays. I didn't see a bunch of tattoos. There were no BBLs. There were no waist trainers. You didn't see a bunch of long fingernails. You didn't see a bunch of bull rings and piercings everywhere. And the women weren't just like that on that show. They were like that everywhere. And as a man who grew up in that era, we were in love with those women. So when y'all out there talking about black men don't like natural women, what the hell are y'all talking about? Because we did then and we still do.
But the women weren't all natural. That's a lie. Women wore lashes back then. They just weren't the super long, extreme lashes that these kids are wearing today. But we wore fake lashes. I didn't wear much, but people wore them. Girls had fake nails in the 90s. And on a different world, there was women with weaves. Even them shortcuts had weaves sometimes sewed in them parts to make it longer. Stop the cap. Okay, it was true. We just wasn't as extreme as these girls are. They wearing a lot of makeup and all these things, okay? No, we weren't as extreme, but we did have weaves, makeup, lashes. All those things were in the 90s, okay? And black women now in the hoods and stuff, you couldn't get BBLs then because we like in the 90s, we couldn't afford that. Y'all parents are a lot of y'all parents is raising y'all differently nowadays. A lot of Gen X our parents weren't playing that. You ain't getting no BBL and all that shit. I mean, but girls, when they went to Hollywood, I'm sure a lot of them had breast jobs done that were on probably them shows. Nose jobs was very popular in the 90s. And some people even claim that people were getting stomach things done so their stomachs would look flatter. So there was plastic surgery in the 90s, okay? There wasn't all natural women, especially on stuff on TV shows, okay? Let's stop that. And later Rashawn talk about, because we was all fine, we was natural. Girl, nah, you about to lie. You had some weave on in that, what's that show? Where was she? In some of them shows. So, because when they be doing your hair, especially if you in film and television, sometimes they would use pieces a lot and stuff. Because if they're constantly, especially if you're a celebrity, you were constantly getting your hair done on set, the heat, we have Black American hair, your heat will would damage the hair. So sometimes they weave the hair and use weave on top of the hair. And back then, I remember I had a girlfriend in high school who could do full head weave. She used to do interlocking. They had interlocking in the 90s. Girls used to come to her on the block all the time to do interlocking in their head. She knew how to do it. She would go, it was a beautician that loved her because she could do hair real good and start teaching her when she was young how to do all that stuff. And they was doing weaves in the 90s. I remember I had a little piece in one of my hair from one of my proms. I had long hair. Stop it. I don't know why these people, y'all just extreme today with it. Y'all just got y'all lashes is way too long. But they had long nails in the 90s. My grandma used to wear long nails. Her natural nails were that long, were really long. And I used to see girls wearing nails with all kind of stuff on them in the 90s. Okay, don't play. We trying to make, and it was. I said I knew this natural stuff was gonna start going too far when that was just not a true statement. I remember one time I was on this show talking, and we were talking about the R. Kelly, and I was saying, well, we talking about the time of R. Kelly. I said that was during the crack epidemic. I said, and it was I said during the crack epidemic. I said 15 was 22. And they was all like, huh? And some people was like, what you mean? and everything like that. I said, oh, don't y'all sit up here and fake like you weren't coming outside after school if you grew up in the 90s and it wasn't nothing but grown men out there waiting for girls. I said, and these wasn't no little innocents. These was because the crack era produced such, it was a rough time. I mean, it produced younger kids being harder at a different, at a more of a different age because you had so much stuff to deal with in the streets. So it present a harder child. A 17-year-old in the crack era was 19 or 20. I'm not saying it was giving an excuse for those men, but it was a lot acceptable. A lot of people didn't pay no attention sometimes. I remember I even had this boy when I was like 17 I liked. He was so cute. All the women loved him. He was a really good guy. I remember he had this really nice Honda Accord, really good looking. Like, he had like a cute, you know who he reminded me? I had two exes that remind me of Maxwell. He had a beard like Maxwell. He was really cute, very well Maxwell used to have. He's so cute. And I remember he's like 22, 23. So I was probably 17. No, he was older than that. I think he was 24, 25. Yeah. And I remember he came, I'd seen him at a concert one night or whatever. And we always used to see him. He was friends. He knew people around the block and all this stuff. He always used to crush on me or whatever. And for a little bit, he was like, oh, she's too young, stuff like that. And he would see me out and about, or whatever. And then one day he said, hey, I like to take you out sometime. I said, nah, I said, that's something I had to talk to my, you kind of old. I had to talk to my family about or whatever. He'd be like, I respect that. So I saw him at a concert one night. And I remember he was like, he had this beautiful, and his family was well-to-do, so he wasn't doing anything crazy, but he had this beautiful like gold chain or whatever. He said, hey, I'm young and dumb. He's like, girl, keep this for me. I'm like, what? He's like, I'm gonna come over to the house and get it or something like that. And he put it on me or whatever. It was cute. It was gorgeous. So he's like, you can wear it for the night or something for the concert or whatever. I got so many compliments on that thing. So the next day I had it ready for him because I was like, my grandfather, if he see this change, he's gonna be going the hell off. And so I talked to my grandmother about it. I said, hey, can I have a conversation with you? My grandmother said, yes. And I said, there's this guy. And she said, and my grandmother knew exactly who he was. She said, mm-mm. And I said, why? She said, he is 8 years older than you. She said, that's too old. She said, I know that you had your first boyfriend that was a little older than you. He was a freshman. He was a senior. But she said, he is far too grown for you. And he knows he's too grown for you. She said, and you give him that chain back and you politely tell him, no, you will not be going out with him. And she said, she said, you welcome to say hi to him around the way you see him here and there. But don't let me hear about you out here messing with this boy. He is not in your range. He out of your league. But I knew that I could trust at that point, by that time, me and my grandmother had such a relationship that I could trust her. I knew she wasn't lying to me. And so I remember telling him, he's like, I respect that. He was so respectful of that. And every time he told me, he kept his distance, everything. So that's why I say, but it was that, but I had grandparents that paid a lot of attention. But there were a lot of girls who didn't have that. They was going with grown ass men and everything. Okay. So in the 90s, that was not that. I was probably the exception. It was a lot of girls dating old dudes. Okay. And I even had friends that was dating people who drove the bus to school. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I ain't gonna lock y'all up in these streets. And when I was young, I used to have teachers try to talk to me. I really should have sued some people for sexual harassment. But I didn't know in those days. But I knew to pay attention, like to keep my distance and be like, I had one teacher that literally kind of came on to me when I was young. And I was like, what? It was crazy. I did not tell. I should have probably, but I just kept my distance from the teacher. But if I had told my grandfather's child, I just didn't want the man to get killed. My grandfather would have been up there after school with the gun cocked. No, I'm not lying. I am not lying. My grandpa pulled up on a teacher of mine once. He did. My grandpa will pull up on your ass. My grandpa was a gangster. And he would pull up. If I had told my grandpa, oh, one of my teachers tried, oh, nah. It was a little joke among me and my friends. We kept, we would talk and laugh about it. But if my grandfather had child, it would have been smoke. He would have got all kinds of. I would have felt safe. I had to keep my papa out of jail. My papa would have went up there with guns ablazing. Okay, but yeah, the 90s was not some like I don't want y'all to think that we were more natural than today, but we did have some fake things and weaves. This was the beginning of the weave era. Okay, so that's not, and we were always wearing wigs. When Black women have wore wigs since the 70s and 80s, synthetic, all kinds of things. Always done different things right here. And I've been seeing this thing about push on it. Like I always talk about my hair. I love wigs. I play with you know why? Because I love different looks. I'm a theater girl. I love all kind of looks. I mean, the other day I had my hair in two ponytails, and then I had two the other day. Y'all didn't see me. I had two with some little afro puffs in my hair. I do my hair all kind of ways. I just love playing. I've been like that since I was young. I love just playing with my different styles. Okay. I be bored. I like to be every woman. Okay. So it's no self-hate here. I like myself. And people who we run around talking about they weird, they natural, some of them got a lot of self-hate. It's not self-hate at all. It's just I like playing with different styles and different looks. Okay. So it is what it is. But that's funny. I had to laugh at that. Y'all trying to over glorify the 80s and the 90s. It was more natural, but not that. And I got pictures of my mama and them at the club in the 70s with wigs on and hair, big old hair files in the back of their hair. So my mama had beautiful hair, but my mother would wear weaves and stuff too. Like, I mean, not weaves, but they didn't have weaves that they were files, clip-ins, and big wigs and all that stuff. Shoot, they was the girls. Okay, so it's never been a time where Black women and white women have not played with different styles of hair. White women, Black women, we just made it very popular. And we be trying to act uneducated out here. White women in the 1950s, if you look at some of the old shows and stuff, had wigs on. They wore wigs too. And Black women wear wigs also. We just made it really popular because of the society and how people felt towards our hair. So a lot of times Black people have on wigs, different things like that. But we made wigs and hair pieces and everything. We made that industry we should have owned it, but we made it a very big industry. Okay. So, and there was various reasons for that because of heat on hair, people in the industry, all kinds of stuff. And those things, those ideas and styles went out. Okay. What's next here? Yeah, but okay, I saw people were asking me about the Chris Brown. I didn't get the video of the Chris Brown, a man allegedly kissing a woman who was married at a Chris Brown show and her husband was in the audience. What is going on with y'all? Y'all not stupid, are y'all? Like, okay, listen, first of all, if that was happening, any man, first of all, that let your wife go up on stage while you in the audience with Chris Brown there, I mean, it's just stupid, first off. And first off, girls, I mean, some people are just girls' nights. Like, don't be taking your, I don't like, like sometimes you don't take, sometimes if you're going to have a good time. But here's the thing. This is what I want to say to women. Even though, the problem is that men don't understand that I've seen women in the strip club or at bachelorette parties and stuff. Women be rowdy, even if they're married. Okay, I be seeing all kind of women. I'm not a strip. I never like men stripping, but men, those kind of things be wild. But you just don't have video cameras too much going on inside the. But when you're talking about a Chris Brown concert where everybody has their phone up and the things that he does, listen, girls, if you're married, do not go up on that stage. Even if you're having problems in your marriage, whatever the fuck you doing, do not go up on that stage and start kissing on Chris Brown in front of the world and your man. Do not do it. Do not fucking do it. Now, if you freshly divorced and you like, bitch, I'm got to have me a good time tonight. Okay, have a blast. Or if you're in a swingers commitment, you might be in the, Jada and Will situation. I don't know. Whatever. But if that, okay, and he don't care. He like, it shows her, he don't care, give a damn. Okay. But if you don't do it, don't do it. Man, and it was a big kiss too. I said, woo. Now, if I was a hot mama and I just was coming out of fresh divorce and stuff like that, yeah, I might would jump up on there. Kayla the Cole made it look fun. Okay, but if you married at home, you girls know how to behave. Don't be playing. You know you ain't supposed to be up on no stage kissing on Chris Brown. Now, if he was called you up on, he did a nice little song. One you like no, I guess she used rhyming like a nice romantic song he sang to you and held your hand or something like that and then sent you off. Okay, that was cute. Your husband ain't gonna give a damn about it. But if you out here eating cherries off his lips, fingertips, and oh, y'all gotta cry, y'all gotta stop. Oh my Lord. Especially where there's cameras everywhere. I just stop and girl. We smarter than that out here, though. But any man who let your wife get up there on stage, like she walk up her ass up on that stage, Chris, because everybody has seen the video of how Chris get down at that show. Okay, everybody. Yeah, you let her go up on that stage, man. That's something else. Okay, all right. You don't do that. All right, so that's wild. I just figured they wanted to go viral. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Where's the next story, or was there? Okay, Larry Johnson's back out here. Larry Johnson. Y'all remember Larry Johnson? They said used to live with Jay-Z or something like that. It was Jay-Z's best friend for many years. Jalissa's ex-boo. Wasn't Jalissa from 106 and Park? Did she was messing with Larry Johnson one time? He looked like a Maxwell, right? He looked like a knockoff Maxwell right on here. She got a type. Okay, but Larry Johnson showed up recently on let me put y'all on a thing talking about Jay-Z and everything going on with Jay-Z. So let me put it up for y'all. Don't he look like Maxwell? Kind of, well, like a knockoff when he had the beard. Now, what was that? It was years ago. That's when Larry Johnson was super popular. Like when Larry Johnson was playing for the Kansas City Chiefs, and he was was he a running back? But y'all remember I said the rumors was he was a beat a bitch ass. allegedly. But here he is. He's apparently cleaned up his life and allegedly and all this stuff. And he's talking about Jay-Z and Beyonce. Let's see what he got to say. Hold on.
Time of my professional career would touch me. I have no regrets with my involvement with Rockaware, Team Rock, and the relationships I've formed. But those things had to die off because I choose a different path. He chose the darkness and Satan. I chose light in Yahuwah. So let's get into this interview, which I thought was hilarious. Right off bat, they told you exactly who he is. People are trying to break down why he had this Congolese mask and how it meant for the struggle or how it meant for the culture. They don't care about who they are as far as their identity. They're never going to tell you who they truly are or who we truly are, but they know, and they chose a side to be subjugated. He got his hands in the pyramid here. He got his hands in the pyramid here for the photo shoot. His thumbs in the pyramid here for the photo shoot. And of course, you see the Eye of Horus or the Eye of Ra, which is the one-eye symbolism that is all connected to Freemasonry or Prince Hall Freemasonry. As you can see here, it's all esoteric knowledge. They go from black and then they go from white in one 35-minute video. The interview is wearing a black hat with a white background. Then he wears a white hat and the black background, just like the floor in York Rite, Scottish Rite, and Prince Hall Freemason lodges is the checkerboard flag. So the very first part of the interview, he wanted to jump into what happened to him as being accused of raping a young woman. He didn't really go into it because the interviewer was selected for a particular reason, and he wasn't going to give him any hard questions where he couldn't handle it. But all you have to see is what he's been propagating throughout his career. I mean, no one is out here really wearing "Do What Thou Wilt," which is a quote by Aleister Crowley. If you know anything about Aleister Crowley, he was a high-level Freemason who believed in sex magic.
Now, pause. I got a story. I told it on Blog Talk, but I'm gonna tell it. Aleister Crowley. I watched a documentary one night about Aleister Crowley because I'm interested in all that kind of stuff. So in the documentary, they had this part where they was talking about this temple or something. I forget, it was on one of the islands or something that they used to go visit. That Aleister Crowley, and then people would have sex parties and all this stuff at this temple. It was crazy. And the devil, they said, would show up in the flesh, and there was a statue there of the devil, how he would appear in the flesh, right? No lie, y'all. This is crazy story. I told a couple times. One time on Blog Talk Radio. I'm gonna tell it again on here. When I was a little girl, probably about 3 to 4 years old. And I'm telling you, I'm not lying on this. I wondered. My grandparents was in church singing. Okay, I was about 3 to 4. I wandered my little butt outside. I could see me right now in the hall playing. I remember this so good. I was in the hall, I could see it, and then I felt something like go outside. So I go outside and I start walking down the street, and there's this man coming up the street, black man. Beautiful, beautiful skin, everything. So I'm walking towards him. I'm not scared of him, though. I mean, something about me ain't scared. So I'm walking, and I get up, and he bends down, he says, "Hey there, little girl," or something like that. And I say, "You the devil." I ain't lying to y'all. I say, "You the devil." I say it over and over again. And all of a sudden I hear my grandpa, Kiki, running down the street, right? And the man and my grandfather picks me up. He said, "I'm sorry, sir." And I'm going, "He the devil. He the devil." I'm saying it over and over again. My grandpa trying to come. "I'm sorry, sir." He said, "Oh no, it was okay. It was nice to meet her. She's so cute," and everything like that. And I was like, "You the devil." I kept saying over, "You the devil." I'm saying it over and over again. I won't stop saying it. True story. My grandpa got me aside. He was so upset because he was like, "How did she wander out of there?" And I think it was one that somebody was supposed to be keeping me, and I wandered from them and out to the bathroom. I think I was trying to go to the bathroom or something like that, and I wandered outside or whatever. My grandfather was such a panic, right? And so but I'm inside the church. So I'm thinking, "He the devil." I say it for the longest. My grandpa like, "Oh my God, what is going on here?" or whatever. And he told me Kiki was down the street. My grandma panicked, everybody. So years later, here it is. I'm watching this documentary on Aleister Crowley, probably about 6, 7 years ago. This is a true story. I can't think of a crazy on here. I am not crazy. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. The statue was that man I saw. No lie. I'm not lying. I said, I know the devil when I see him. I was like, you're the devil. And I don't know. I was a little girl. I have no clue why. I had no clue. I said, boy, God, I remember I was talking to one of my friends. She said, you must be somebody in the kingdom because he said he wanted to come meet you. I said, yeah. And yeah, it was crazy. It was a true story. I'm not lying. But it was Aleister Crowley in this temple was the statue of this man. Okay. That's no lie. To this day, I'm always spooked out. I called my grandfather right when I saw this, when I was watching the documentary. I called my grandfather. I said, remember when I was little? Oh my God, it's a man in the statue. He's like, calm down. I'm like, it's me. He said, what? He said, yeah, I remember that. He's like, oh my God, you wouldn't calm down. I said, mm-mm. And he didn't feel like he was going to harm me either. He didn't feel anything like it. Feels like he just came to meet me. Like, it's like, I said, oh, I'm going to be a thorn in your side, huh? But it was crazy. Today, I will never forget that, okay? But yeah, so finish this in the Larry, okay?
He meant drugging young children so they could achieve spiritual enlightenment. In theory and practice, in the Book of Magic, he even admits that in order to achieve this higher level of spirituality, that you go after a young white male or a young male child.
Yeah. So I wanted you to talk a little bit about this idea of like you said earlier, like the things that you do for the culture, the ways that you put on, the ways that you try to protect and move forward, but kind of the pushback that you get sometimes about like people throw capitalists at you in a derogatory sense.
Yeah, I think in that verse specifically, the only thing I heard coming up was the American dream until we started being successful. And it was like, wait a minute, you're selling out because you're making money. That was the first thing that was put on musicians. Like, no, I make art first. And then I make sure that I'm compensated for my art. I didn't take advantage. I didn't get here by taking advantage of people. I didn't take it. No one. That's not my reputation. That's not what I do. I didn't get here by taking advantage of people or taking advantage of, the loopholes in the system or some wrinkle in a capitalist structure.
This is where it gets a little iffy. And this is why I don't think there are true Prince Hall billionaires. He signed a 10-year, $150 million, 360 deal to Live Nation in 2008, then came back 2017 to sign another 10-year deal, a 360 deal with $200 million. These are the architects of this so-called 360 deal. It is structured, often leads to financial exploitation. So if he's a billionaire, then these men got to be trillionaires because there's no way they would give that much freedom to any black artist to control their entertainment, control their license, control who they are, control the money they make from touring without any of these guys having their hands in it. The top guy is Hanson, is a manager of former rock bands. Everybody knows Leo Cohen, and these two Tennessee lawyers are the ones that put together the 360 deal. You think when they put this deal together, it was to give artists rights and control over their artwork? No, it's literally financial slavery. They need you Negroes to believe that they are billionaires, so you keep going into this industry and then getting exposed and then knowing that you have to open up your rectum or your prostate in order to elevate into getting a billionaire status. They don't tell you the other side of these deals.
You can get as many degrees as you want, but it's just like trying to get all degrees you want, but you still got a ceiling. He can't go but so high because the people that he worshiping, that he kissing their ass and letting them fill him up and shit, they don't know shit. He's involved, but he's involved with this shit, man.
So the reason why they pick drug dealers is because if you can sell poison to your own people and destroy them, it ain't nothing for you to do it and say it over a beat. So basically used him. He was literally the least percentage of owning the Brooklyn Nets. But the reason why they put him up here with the owner, because they needed him to be an image to get people out of their housing. So you glossed over the fact that, this is a black man in the corporate white world, really being an image and a representation of us, that you can make it out of the hood and you can clean up your past and you could be right up there with the big dogs. No, they were kicking people out of their homes in Brooklyn. Anybody who's attached to Masonry, it's the cult of Baal. They believe in sex worship and human sacrificing. So he quit rap or retired from rap a little short under 2005. His nephew, which he was close with, he was the one that was sacrificed. Then he came out of retirement, October 27th. And then he came out with Kingdom Come, and Khalik is featured on Lost Ones. He thought that he could live his art outside of control. And that's why they funneled him back in to Masonry.
Who, when you say they, like, who is that?
Whatever the threat to, however the system is set up to keep things at status quo and keep us in a position of using words like allow. So anyone that's culpable in creating the system that we operate under, that's they.
Yeah.
That's they.
Everybody know who they is. They can't do anything without allowance. That means York Rite, Scottish Rite allow them to put out a certain image. Jewish mysticism or the Talmud allows them to get away with certain rituals and rites because that's their form of passage to elevate themselves through degrees. It has to involve children. It has to involve sexuality. It has to involve blood sacrificing.
Oh, Lord.
You said something just now, though, about you pushing independence, right? Kind of like in the spirit of Prince. When you embody that, do you feel like you are kind of setting a mold or leading a charge for like what the successful Black man is allowed to do? And like breaking these spaces, breaking these confines?
Yeah. I even want you to take that out of your vocabulary.
Take what?
Allowed. You know what I'm saying? We're not allowed to do anything. You know, in order for someone to allow you, they have to have authority over you.
Can't go but so high because the people that he worshiping, that he kissing their ass and letting them fill them up and shit, they don't know shit.
At the end of the day, they're slipped in there to be gatekeepers for the Black community. That is all. Regardless if he says that there's some problem with the alt-right or people going to Republican, he seems to forget that Trump pardoned a snitch that is on his team. So they flip-flop back and forth, and they don't think...
Wow, Larry, wait a minute, hold on, Larry. Let me just say this. Larry sounded a lot more clear than he sounded that one time. Because I was kind of like listening, going, I was kind of listening, kind of a little strange. But, you know, I'm not going to play it's really good what he's saying. I'm saying he sound more legit. I don't know what these people doing. I hope y'all ain't out here messing with kids. I hope y'all ain't out here. He used to hang. They say he used to live with him, Jay-Z. He used to hang out with Jay-Z. I mean, I don't know. They was best friends or something like that. I don't know. Ain't my business. Okay, but what I'm just saying, he coming out saying all this stuff now. And he sounded like he looked clear-headed and clear-minded. At first, when I heard him say talking, he didn't sound clear-minded. But this time, he sound clear-headed. Child, I hope y'all ain't doing no crazy stuff up there with these kids and all these stuff. Ain't doing that. Child, I hope these Epstein files, these people ain't been out here in these Epstein files. Lord have mercy. It's so much weird stuff going on. So much weird stuff. So yeah, so that's Larry Johnson. His thing is 2 Larry Johnson 7. Very interesting what he had to say. He does have some inside knowledge because at one time he was really allegedly close to Jay-Z. Okay, so and he did, and in the end, in the beginning he said, "Hey, they just went 2 separate pathways. He went to the darkness and he went to the light." Okay, or somebody shooting somebody. I don't know who he said, but somebody. Okay, all right. All right, y'all, last story. Okay, I'm trying to see what the next, I think I had. Okay, the last thing I'm going to share, I think, for y'all, I'm not going to share the Shaka Khan one tonight, where Shaka Khan talks about the girls. I'm gonna wait. I'll do that next time. But Ella May says Scorpios are territorial, not possessive. Okay, she's a Scorpio, Ella May, and so I found it interesting what she had to say. This was gonna be our last story of the night, y'all. So let me let y'all hear this. Ella May, just her own vibe.
Scorpios are territorial, but not to the point where we're like, well, let me speak for myself.
Okay.
Yeah, let me speak for myself. Me as a Scorpio, I'm territorial for sure, but I'm not possessive. Like I'm not. I don't think that I think that word. I just don't like that word.
Yes.
I don't like that word, and I think it's a misconception because we have a really hard exterior. Like we are very assertive. We're
That's
very
what you
confident.
literally said in the track.
We're
Yeah.
very confident, and I think sometimes people mistake that for like arrogance when it's not necessarily that. It's just that we're confident and we're assertive. But we're also like, if you peel back the layers and really get to know a Scorpio, we're water signs, so we're actually very sensitive and very like emotional. And it just doesn't come across that way when you first meet us. But if you really peel back the layers now, it does take a little while to peel back the layers. I will say we are very guarded. But if you do get the luxury of peeling back the layers of a Scorpio, as I said on audio message, we will probably be the best lover you will ever have. I do.
She ain't lying. Listen, let me tell you something. Okay. I don't know where the possessive. I don't have that part. I don't know if I'm even territorial. I'm a Scorpio, but I never have been, and I don't like disrespect. You know what I'm saying? But so I could be territorial in that way when I'm in a relationship or something like that. You know, people have boundaries and stuff like that with my man, you know, or stuff like that. You know, when I'm out and I'm with that my. It's not the same. Marriage to me is different because there is clear boundaries in the marriage. But you know what I'm saying. But when I was dating and in relationships, in terms of the marriage is a relationship, but it's very different. It's understanding the boundaries. It's kind of clearly define certain boundaries. But dating and stuff, yeah, I can be territorial at that point because sometimes people be trying you and stuff like that. But I'm not possessive of the Scorpio. But I agree with her. I don't like that word. I think all Scorpios don't like that word. I don't think we like to be called possessive because we don't feel like we are. I don't at all. I think even my husband would probably say no, she's not at all. I actually am very. I act like a lot like a Libra. I love my freedom. I love being free. I mean, like so I can't be territorial, and I like some aspects of freedom has a person in a marriage or even in my relationship. When I was in my different relationship, I like having my own space, my own time, who I am, my own person, stuff like that. But I don't know if possessive. And we are very heavily guarded. But when you peel back the layers of us, we are the sweetest things ever. We can be very straightforward. I remember I was at the Maxwell show, right? This is sidebar. And I met this really wonderful girl who when I was in Vegas, and we met each other again at the Maxwell. She's a Scorpio too. At the Maxwell show, and it's so funny because she was leaving the cruise, her and her friends, they met Maxwell after the cruise. They were out there and they took some pictures with them or whatever. But yeah, so I met this wonderful. Me and her, we hung out together again the first night Maxwell show, and so she sat together. We went to go in the cafe to get dinner. Real cool Scorpio girls, right? So we're sitting and she's telling me we're talking about meet and greets and laughing. She's telling me about a couple of times about her meet and greets and I'm telling her how weird I'm like, mine are always weird. I don't know. And so we're laughing and talking. And this guy keeps yelling behind, right? He's yelling. It is annoying, but he keeps blah, blah, blah. And she's like, hold on. Okay, we hear you. We understand. Calm down. So Scorpio. I was like, oh no. He's like, well, I'm just saying. She's like, well, but we hear you though. We heard you when you said it the first time. It's okay. I was like, so forward, so Scorpio. That's some Scorpio shit. Now, I'm not that Scorpio. I will be forward with you if you're doing too much. But she was like, shut him down. And went back and said, okay, girl. Like I was saying. But I was laughing because I was like, oh my God, that is such a Scorpio thing to do. And it seems like we're mean, but we're not. So sweet. We are very nice people. And we're not, I mean, people are always surprised. I remember people are always surprised when they get to know me. They're like, I thought you was just quiet. That's just stuff. I'm like, no, I'm crazy, really. I have the best time. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. I'm a fun girl, really. Okay. But yes, it takes a while. Even when people see me at shows, like gotta go to concerts, I am very reserved. But listen, baby, when I'm at home or when I'm certain places, no, not at all. I'm loud. So it just depends. But there are certain places I'm very because I'm very reserved. My Scorpion nature takes over. But when you peel back, we are something else, okay? And when we're comfortable with you, oh yeah, we're great. That's why I say if you're meeting a Scorpio and you're in a relationship, marriage or something like that, and you say you don't feel the intensity and the love of Scorpio or the I don't know. You may check your Scorpio's temperature, or if your Scorpio is going through something, it depends. So if they're going through something challenging or something like that in their health space or something like that. But other than that, Scorpios, we all full passion and effect. So Ellie Mae ain't lied on that one. Ella Mae ain't lied on that one, okay? All right, you guys, thank you for hanging out with me tonight, late night. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy it. It was plenty on here to talk about. And one thing I figure with us is that if you like what I say, what you find out is what you know is that you don't really know. Okay. So that's the one thing I hope y'all take out of this show. What you think you know, you don't know. All right. You guys have a wonderful night. Remember, you can hit me up on the Carlotta Chatwood Facebook page. Okay. Y'all don't be scared to reach out either. Y'all be funny. Y'all be cracking me up. Okay. So make sure you can reach out to me that way. You can hit me up in my DM and Carly's_Galaxy again. No, I don't want your Social Security check. No, I don't want your Army check. I'm just y'all what? Y'all old men and Army men. Okay, I just mess with y'all. But remember, you can hit me up at the Carly's_Galaxy there, Carly's with an S. Okay, and if you want to talk to me about the show or something you'd like to hear me talk about, or you'd like to hear my opinion about, or a particular thing you want me to chat on, you're welcome to hit me up there, Carly's_Galaxy. Okay, and on Instagram there should be a thing for a message, and then there's also Threads, the Threads link. And then you can hit me up also on TikTok at Keisha Carlotta. And then for Twitter X, there is Carlotta72 and C Chatwood Show. Okay. I'm out. Y'all have a good one. All right. Y'all have a good rest of your night. I know it's late, child. It's late, baby. Okay. But enjoy the rest of y'all week. All right. Bye-bye. I'm playing the drum roll for y'all. I played the wrong thing. Hold on. Okay, there we go. See ya.
Bye.